now come to order. Let's rise for pledge allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May be seated.
Municipal authority meeting?
Okay, our minutes are being recorded to aid in the preparation.
We're hoping that this month they actually do record. Otherwise, they're going to be known as the Rosemary Woods up here.
All right, minutes for March 4th, 2015.
Second.
Then Leslie moves and seconded to accept the minutes for March 4th. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it's approved. Visitors.
Okay, for the insurance review, I'm going to put that at the top of on the top of the page, that prior to 7 o'clock, we had our annual insurance review. Okay. Barry, excuse me, Mr. Rice.
Yes. I just want to know if there's any progress being made with my neighbor.
And that's the next sheet Karen put in her report so that he knows.
And Dennis, I think. Yep, I think you're the one on top of this at the present moment. Give us a status of where we're at with it.
There was a hearing, I can't remember
It should be the next page after
March
the minutes.
19th.
March 19th,
Here's a list of what they're reading.
with District Justice McGuire on the charge that was filed for their failure to take their septic tank out of, pump it and crush it or fill it. Defendants didn't show for the hearing, so the judge, as I understand it, held it without them there, found them guilty and issued a fine of $250. Of course, they have an appeal right. They have 30 days from the date of the hearing in which to file an appeal, and that's still 2 weeks away from running, so we don't know whether they will. I also understand that the system, the tank, not the septic tank, but the vault where the grinder pump is, and the pump in there is connected to the electrical system and apparently is operational or functional. Now, I guess what we don't know for sure is whether sewage, is going into that vault and being pumped into our system. But we at least know now we have a pump in there that works, and we have the electricity hooked up to it. Of course, the board has some. Are you still noticing?
It's unreal.
It's worse.
It's terrible.
They got a pipe running right down alongside the grinder pump out to the edge of the road. And it's just,
You can just see it just coming right down off the bank and then right down through the mailbox. I mean, with his big truck, it's.
Is that this? There's a photograph or a copy of the print. does that look like, see it from there, there's a pipe up here. Does that look like it?
I don't know, but it runs right down alongside where you guys just put a new grinder pump in.
Yeah. I mean, it's like that wide of nothing but just coming right out of off the bank.
I know it comes right down on the main road.
Does that look like, I mean, the pipe, is it about that big around?
Yeah, it's
Or
black.
maybe- Okay.
Flexible
I
pipe.
don't know if everybody's seen that photograph.
They probably have
Yes,
not.
I know Sam has. So that may or may not, it almost looks like there's a wall there. Is that, yeah, is that what that is, Sam?
What's that, sir?
Oh, is that their,
No, that's a stone there. It's just a stone in the mountain.
oh, okay.
It does look like.
Yeah, I'll pass that down. As I understand it, it looks like clear water coming out of that, whether, I don't know that anybody has actually drawn.
That's down below that. See, it's like, this is up here, and this is where it's coming down through. Is where she's saying some wide
Is that at the end of this, or not?
it is. That's not on that picture. No,
Oh,
That
okay.
is down below the margin, below the white margin.
Okay.
All right, that's more to the top of the hill. This is at the bottom of the hill along the road. In other words, right in here is where the road is.
In the basement, it could be, you know, we don't,
You can see
nobody knows
that.
that.
But I think that's, like I said before, I think that's clear water.
It looks like it. You're still noticing odor?
With 8 to 9 people living over there, and them not being hooked up to this grinder pump.
Yeah.
It's gotta be going somewhere.
Well, I mean, it may be going into our system now, because the pump is, there is a working
How can you tell
pump.
if it's not? I mean, how can you tell if it is? You can or you can't?
I don't think,
At our present moment, we have documentation that it was installed, hooked up.
I know it was installed, but
And if he changed it back or did anything different, we have no idea.
Let me ask this, do we have any idea if that old septic tank has been abandoned? Do we
No.
have any proof of
And that's
that?
what the fine's all about here. That's the issue that we've been taking him to.
Okay, so we
to
still
get
have
this-
no proof that that's been demolished?
This needs to be abandoned. Once that's abandoned, has to hook into the system.
Exactly.
So the way we're handling this at the present moment is to get the abandoned septic tank demolished, which forces it to be hooked into the system,
Right.
okay? It gets rid of any doubt of what's going on,
Yeah,
okay?
but if he don't show up for these hearings or anything, how long does this go for 30
Well,
days, and 30 days, and 30 days? It's
As
been-
I under- as I
It's been a year now.
as I understand it, Mr. Rice, the judge would entertain another complaint once this appeal period expires. That's what at least Karen's note indicates. So that if it's not corrected or he hasn't paid the fine by the end of roughly April 19, then the township could file another complaint for a fine again. Typically, the second time around, we asked for, I think, $1,000 fine, and the judge issued a $250 fine. The second time around, if it's not corrected, typically the fine goes up. If he doesn't pay the fine, then there could be an enforcement process for that, which, depending upon the financial circumstances, potentially could lead to incarceration. But I can't promise that, and of course, that doesn't correct the problem either. Necessarily doesn't correct the problem. It might if he's called back again and fines are issued, it might cause him to fix this. The other thing that's happening is there is a sheriff's sale scheduled for the end of this month, April.
Or raised in one of them.
Well, this is a foreclosure by his mortgage company, his lender. I did speak to the attorney for the bank last week, and I mean, it appears it's a go. He can't see any reason why they won't complete the sale on the sale date in late April. Now, he couldn't guarantee me that they will do that, of course, because things can happen that would cause that to change. For instance, if they pay the delinquent amount or work something out with the bank. But right now, that sale is on and appears to be a go. If the property is sold at that sale and the bank or somebody buys it, it's still going to be a period of time before they would have to get out, if you follow me. I mean, it would take, someone would have to start a legal process to actually get them evicted. So unfortunately, in this world, nothing happens real quickly.
Well,
There's nothing else we can do, Dennis, to make this accelerate its pace, is there?
We could file another complaint or ask the township to do that, because they actually processed this last complaint. The only other thing I can think of that we could do would be to go to file a proceeding in Common Pleas Court in Perry County and ask the court there to issue injunctive relief, which would be an order issued by the court for them to correct the issues that exist there. That, of course, would involve a hearing. They have a right to defend that, to go to a hearing. The authority would have to prove its case at that hearing, and if the court agrees, they could issue an order for them to correct this, and and they have a right to appeal that, as there always just about is rights to appeal. But if they get an order to correct the problem from a court and they don't comply with that, then the court has a little better leverage than the authority does. They can actually they're then in contempt of a court order, and that can result in civil and or criminal contempt proceedings, which again can involve incarceration. But it doesn't necessarily correct the problem. I mean, if somebody's willing to sit in a jail cell,
well, it just seems funny, everybody that, when the storage went through, was forced to hook on.
And he did.
Was forced to hook on. And now, there's one that just absolutely has no intentions of hooking onto it.
Well, according to our records, shows that he was hooked up.
He was hooked up. We have the pressure test and the results from the inspector. So when the sewer went through, he did hook up.
Yeah, but he never paid for it. To my understanding.
That's another story.
To my understanding. And a year ago, when the grinder pump went out,
He's been charged all this time. Whether the grinder pump worked or not, he's been charged for being hooked into our system and using it and everything else. We went down, serviced that grinder pump, made sure we had everything up to the panel box, and it was not energized. And now it's energized, because we went down and checked it. It is energized. Now, whether he is using it or hooked back into it or not hooked into it, we do not know that, because we're not allowed inside that house. That's the issue that we have to deal with also.
Is there any way that we can legally get on that property and have that septic tank exposed, that we can inspect it to see where he may have tapped off of the line coming out of the house and bypassed the grinder pump?
I'm gonna say it's done inside the house.
You're what?
I'm gonna say it's probably done more inside the house than it is outside the house.
Where does the sewage enforcement officer stand? They have the right that if sewage is running on the ground.
They should be able to dye test. We could just put dye in the toilet
Well,
and
they
you find
already
out
did
where
the
the
test.
damn
Then you
stuff
gotta
comes
get-
out. It's easy to figure that out.
Gotta get in the house.
But you gotta
Well, that's the problem. How can we
Why
do
can't you
that?
why can't you look inside the grinder pump and see if it's being used?
We already did that.
Is there solid
It
water?
was turned off and terminated and not energized. So we went down, made sure it functioned and
You
had
said
it
it's
working.
energized now.
And it's
Have
energized
you
now.
looked at it since it's been energized?
We have not.
You could tell very easily if it's solid in there.
In the
But it
pump-
still does not solve the demolition of the holding tank. The
But
demolition
that
of
would
the,
answer the question whether his sewage is being taken care
Yeah.
of.
right, but still, if there's
So would
issues
I.
with the holding tank, still being able to be functioned due to
Yeah, but it
groundwater
would give
systems
some
and
peace
stuff.
of mind that that's not sewage running by him.
But if the holding tank is still catching filtration from all the ground sources that are around that area,
Groundwater.
groundwater in the tank,
Mhm.
leaching out through, it's still gonna carry sewage. So the tank needs to be pumped and demolished.
I would think you'd look to see if the grinder pump was, working, is it pumping? That's a pretty good indicator, whether he's using that or he's using the septic tank. What's left of
We
the
can go
septic.
down and check it. I know it's energized at the present moment, because we went down and checked the power source. Sam and me both did, didn't we, Sam?
Yes, sir.
This may be a really dumb question, but DEP has been aware of this from the beginning.
They have been given letters as we go along, if I'm not mistaken.
Could they be of any help to us, giving us any kind of reinforcement?
I
I mean,
think,
this is a public health issue.
yeah, I think they could be, I guess, whether they will or not is the problem. So far, I understand they've been aware of it, but they've deferred to
Us.
the municipality, yeah, to correct it.
I think I would appeal to them to see if they, I mean, you've got the proof of what the authority has done to no avail. So I think I would give them that information, say, this is what we've done and it hasn't worked, we need your help.
It's
Well-
been my experience that DEP will look to the municipality to take care of its own sewage issues.
Maybe
DEP
so,
is a-
but I mean, in a case like this where we're not getting anywhere, are they, I mean, would
I'm
think
not
they
saying
would.
you're not getting anywhere, it's just taking time.
No, we're not getting anywhere because we still don't know if that
You're applying,
septic tank has
you're
been
applying
abandoned.
pressure. Right now, that's about the best you can do,
Well,
in my opinion.
yeah, the possibility of the, as I say, of an injunctive relief for either of the, there's sort of two different problems here. It's, is he using the correct system, which is, as I see it, somewhat separate from getting the tank pumped out and properly crushed or filled. I mean, we may need, or the board may need to go to court about possibly both, but the septic tank, if this fella doesn't respond to the fines and so forth, then the only other option I know of is to do that, because I would not feel comfortable unless the tank is within the right-of-way that we have for the grinder system, and it probably is not. I don't know if anybody knows that for sure, but entering private property and you just, unilaterally entering the property outside of a right-of-way and
But
digging up
they
and
build it all in.
pumping and crushing a tank, I just think I would feel more comfortable if a court has said,
Would you say it
yes,
was?
go ahead and
Under
do
the
that,
front porch?
if you
It
follow.
used to be a front porch,
I don't
and
think
they
you wanna
build it
put
all
yourselves
in
in an
now.
awkward or vulnerable
But it's
position.
still open underneath like a porch.
Is that where his septic tank is?
That's where everything is, pipes and everything.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
Dennis,
as far as entering his house or entering the property outside of any defined right-of-way in favor of the authority, I think, my advice to you would be that we don't do that unless the court has
Well, let's
said, go
let's
ahead
go
and
to
do
the
it.
court and ask for a court order then. Do you need our,
I don't need
do you
a
need
motion.
our request for you to do that?
I don't need a motion, but if the
I think that's where we
consensus
oughta
of the
go
board is
now.
to do it, then we do it.
County court,
I agree.
bypass the DJ.
Yep. It's been long enough.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I mean, we need to keep moving on this no matter where this thing's going in the other direction, with the sheriff's sale and everything
Yes.
else. I mean, the sheriff's sale itself could actually make this
It could.
go away too. But for us to sit around and wait for it is no benefit for the
Means
community.
I would've put money down again, who knows?
Right.
Yeah, but the way the property is, if you don't have a bid on it, what's the sheriff do?
Well, the bank will buy it then. If there's no bid, the bank will buy it. The foreclosing mortgage company will buy it in at cost, and then they'll put it on the market.
Would they would then, obviously, they would then own it.
They would own it.
And
They,
could we then get access
Well, they could throw
There
them
would be,
people out,
there
right?
would be a far greater chance, yeah, probably, yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't, because they would want that corrected, so. You'd have a more, obviously, a more responsible
Yeah, that's true.
entity, to deal with.
We can
about
go in the
that
property
problem.
then, we can go in the house.
They would likely consent to us doing what we need to do. Understand though, even the court process in Perry County, you know, it takes, I mean, that could be months.
It's been once.
I don't know, but
Well, I think we need to do it.
I think we need to pursue that option.
I'm just checking in to see what for forward motions going on,
I'm glad to see you're here.
because
We're,
it don't get any better.
I mean, the hearing was bumped back from February to March. We turn around, we put our head service done to the grinder pump, made sure everything was right for him. I'm surprised that was even energized.
So,
The funny part about all this is all this time he's being billed, whether he's using it or not, or however the system is working, he's being billed to use that pump.
But yet he's not paying.
well, he's not paying,
No,
but
but
we're
it's-
filing liens.
We're filing liens and it's still building up a delinquent because it's a mandate that he's supposed to be doing, and it's
Unreal.
it's unreal, yes. I mean, it's,
Shame.
the system's there, it should be functioning, there should be no issues why it's not going in that system. And the demolition of the tank is not a complicated thing once you're to that point.
I thought the day when the tanker come down along the road, and men dug through the snow and put a new grinder pump and stuff in, it would have been fixed. It's still not operable.
Do what we can. Sam, is there a possibility of looking down, take a look at that grinder pump,
I just wrote it down.
catch
Check
up
it,
with
see
me?
what it is.
Yeah, if you would, Sam, let me know what you find, because that may, you know, it's gonna depend on whether that's functioning now as to how many different things I have to put in this complaint to court. I mean, if we can't tell for absolutely certain that it is functioning, then I'm just gonna include that,
Okay.
but,
I mean, the easiest thing probably for us to do is get out and put a house meter on, you know how to change the lines. Right, Ed?
I would think.
That would tell you that it's functioning because it would run through its cycles.
if nothing's going through it, it would just, it's not gonna cycle at all. It just
Yeah,
sits
if it's sitting there stagnant, it's not gonna do nothing. And then each time it draws electric, the meter would read a meter read, it would give you hours of use.
Okay.
I mean, we've talked about doing this in a roundabout way for other purposes. We just probably need to come up with a device to make that happen, that you could hook it up and run it for a week and see if it's got hours on it. You know what I'm saying? Think we could work on that, Ed?
I've been looking at Grangers to see if I can find an hour meter that we could buy, yeah.
See if we can hook it in there, okay? I think it'd be valuable to have one in our inventory that we could be able to go up and prove something like that, you know what I'm saying?
Whether would it make any sense to do a sample of the water coming out of that pipe and see what's in that, or isn't that, maybe we explore the
mean,
other things first, like,
With,
Improve where it's coming from.
Well, but the SEO did that.
yes.
well, no, they
Not the
took,
newest one, but
yeah, they didn't take the sample though from the pipe, there was some standing water in a puddle that
okay.
is where he took his sample.
With
When
the-
I talked to him after this pipe issue came up, he told me, the SEO told me he didn't see that. Apparently it was covered with snow or something when he was out there. So he wasn't even familiar with the pipe we're talking about.
I mean, that pipe we're assuming is something pertaining to the sewer. We do not know.
That's right.
Okay, that could be a floor drain, which we require not to be hooked into the sewer system and running surface water off of there. We don't know, okay? From the picture, there's a lot of flow coming out of that picture.
Mhm.
That's more than just a sewage flow. I can assure you that is more than a sewage flow. Because it's not changing, it's not deviating. And sewage would only run, it would have a controlled flow. You know, it's not gonna be running all the time unless there's a other water issue going with it. You know what I'm saying? And all those houses up in them areas, a lot of them have groundwater with floor drains and, you know, water drains, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, creating that issue, so.
Source could be a combination.
It could be a combination issue, yes. Okay, especially with the amount of that spill pipe coming out of that, you know what I'm saying?
That's a pretty good.
That's a pretty steady flow there. I've seen that before, and it's obvious, it's more than just,
It could be, like you said, it could be, water coming into the tank,
I mean,
still hooked into this tank, just
Okay.
infusion.
Yep.
into the tank.
we are doing our best. I apologize for the pace it's going, but we went down there, we spent time, we spent money to make sure the grinder pump was up and working. We went back down, checked it to make sure he's got it energized, which surprised, I think, both of us. I think he does realize that there's a lot of ends coming to it. There's a lot of points coming to an end. You know what I'm trying to say? It's just a matter of it's going to take a little longer. And I cannot give you a guideline what that's going to be. I mean, we're doing everything we can, and we're going to have you pursue the next level, okay? Plus, there's other directions that other entities are going after him for, so we're not the only ones after him from what it sounds like.
Okay.
Okay? I appreciate you coming and keep coming until we get you, hopefully resolve this.
You don't see any signs of an impending departure, do you?
No.
Nothing?
Not when last night or the night before, Sunday night, was it? Would you believe they took the whole back end of his pickup truck was filled with garbage, backed it up, dumped it, and burned it all. So now they're not going nowhere.
It seems to me like you should have called the folks over to the next
Yes,
office.
that's what I'm thinking.
Well, I don't know, I didn't know that was illegal.
You-
It is.
It
You
is
can only
very
burn
illegal.
wood products.
Very
Can't
illegal.
burn-
No, cans were popping.
Next time,
Okay,
and if they're not in, call the police department.
oh, all right. Okay.
This is.
Good rule of thumb, if the smoke does not burn white, call somebody.
This is about once a month. That's how
Yeah.
long, that's how long we let it.
He waits,
garbage
yeah,
out.
puts it in the back of his pickup truck, backs it up, and then just dumps it all and burns
Now,
it.
that's illegal.
Okay. That's what we're dealing with. All right, we thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Bob?
Thanks, Susan.
Paul? That's it.
Okay. Reports of professional staff, engineering report.
Okay, everybody has our report dated for April 1st, today's meeting. Okay,
This is a truthful one?
is it what?
It's truthful, it's not an April Fool joke?
Yeah, I got caught on one of those today. I'm always,
It was kind of short, so.
yeah. All right, our engineers report for April 1st, April Fool's Day, of course. First item of the topics here is Sunshine Hills Water Treatment and Storage Project. On March 11th, CEDACOG, Mr. Bill Siegel contacted us, notified us that the CDBG grant application for the Phase 2 water distribution system improvements has been approved in the amount of $250,000. With the approval of Phase 2, we contacted the authority, and the authority's desire was to move forward with the project. So as a result of that, we prepared a schedule and submitted that to the authority for approval, and that was in an email I dated back on March 12th to all the authority members and Karen of what we were proposing for the schedule of the project. As a result of that, we advertised on March 31st, Tuesday, in the Harrisburg Patriot News. I do have a copy that it was actually in the paper. They're supposed to send proof of publication to the authority, Mr. Siegel at CEDACOG, and our office. And they're going to bill the authority directly for the publication, okay? As a result of the schedule, we have a pre-bid or a mandatory pre-bid scheduled for April 9th, which is Thursday, and that's going to be scheduled at 1 o'clock on Thursday. It's going to be held at this office, and then we'll move to the site for field viewing the site and so forth, and answering any questions. Okay.
Do you need any of us with that?
Well, if anybody wants to participate, that would be very much welcomed. I think, if any authority members want to be there, they'd be there to be additional, observers and to be also to contribute to any questions that might come up that I might not be able to answer. So
That's on the 30, when is it?
that's on April 9th,
April 9th.
yeah, at 1 o'clock.
I'll be there.
That's a Thursday,
Jim?
I can.
okay?
Jim and I will be there.
All right.
Well, gotta be careful how many we get.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is, and that's why.
You
I was
wanna be
getting-
there?
No, I'm just saying whoever wishes to be there, if they go, or if they can't go,
Yeah.
send an email and we'll see
Okay.
if we can get somebody else to go.
All right.
But we'll
Okay.
make sure we got 2 representatives there, is that fair?
Yeah.
So if one of you guys can't make it, send an email out a day or so earlier and see if we can't find somebody else.
Gotcha.
And in the advertisement, we had noted that it is a mandatory pre-bid, but if somebody cannot make it, that they are to contact Mr. Chisholm or Mr. Coker to try to make subsequent arrangements to, have a field view and get that information that was presented at the pre-bid meeting. Following that, we have the bid opening scheduled for April 23rd, again, which is a Thursday. That's for 2 p.m. We'll be accepting bids on the electrical and general contracts. And if the authority so chooses, if the bids come in and they are reasonable and you want to entertain, accepting a bid, we were thinking possibly having a special meeting prior to the authority meeting sometime in April, maybe April 27th through May 1st. That way, I guess the next authority meeting's May 6th.
Yes.
Yes. That way we could take action on it, and at that meeting, we could...
Accelerate this by a couple weeks.
Yeah, because what happens is if you decide that you want to issue the notice of intent, we can then issue that following the special meeting, and then hopefully have the agreements executed, the insurances submitted, and the bonds submitted. And what we're anticipating is then issuing the notice of award, notice to proceed, maybe May 11th. Okay? With that in mind, in the CDBG funding, we have to have the project completed by substantially completed by December 1st, 2015. If we do make that award, notice to proceed, on May 11th, that gives us, I calculate 194 days, which is sufficient time to do that. It's a little compressed, but with this type of project, we've seen that type of work completed without any problem in that amount of time. And CDBG or CEDACOG told us that the difference between substantially complete and final completion would be, say we have paving and site work, restoration, grading and seeding, that won't affect the substantially complete. What we needed to be able to do is serve water to the customers. But that work could occur in the spring, and that wouldn't
Due
buy.
to climate, temperatures, and weather.
Yes, exactly.
Wintertime
Yep.
timeframe, yes.
Yeah, because once we get into November, final grading and seeding and pavement restoration becomes an issue.
So
Okay.
all the treatment plant and all the lines have to be in.
Yes, the lines have to be in.
All the lines have to be in.
Yes, and then the customers have to be hooked up. Okay.
You gotta be drinking that water, Elmer, is what it means.
Don't worry, I'll be drinking it then.
So,
It'll
yeah.
soon be better than it is now.
Yes, Bob.
What's the engineer's estimate for this project?
What we estimated was approximately with the we took into account with the CDBG money and so forth, it's probably 1.1 to 1.3 total
Construction cost.
construction cost. Yeah. Because we have about over $900,000 of funding available to us. But with the CDBG requirements, we have to, just for example, today, we spent today contacting contractors, sending out emails. The authority was copied on everybody that we contacted who we feel are viable contractors who would express an interest for the project. Tomorrow, what we're going to do is we're going to send out emails to the MBE, WBE, Minority Business Enterprises and Women Business Enterprises, and also the Section 3 vendors, which is part of the CDBG requirements for this project. So we're going to do that tomorrow and Friday. They provided us with a list. The list is in both of these contracts. What I was told by Tyler Dombrowski at CEDACOG is that we have to contact those vendors who we thought would be have an interest and be suited for the work. So everybody who's listed, we're probably not going to contact, but we're going through, and there's quite an extensive list in there. So that's going to be part of the next phase in order to make you in compliance with the funding requirements.
I'm sure you're familiar with how grant money operates, Bob.
Oh, very much so.
You gotta go through
you want
a
the
lot
money
more.
bands at the end of the strings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lot more paperwork with it. We're finding that out.
Yeah. And
In some ways, it costs you more money than you would.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's we're seeing that too, but we can't do it without it.
I
right.
just wondered where we were with the bottom line dollar.
Yeah.
You're right.
Have you looked at what this is going to do to your rates yet?
Truthfully, we're seeing, I don't know, I really don't see a whole lot of change with the possibility of
Yeah.
increasing our,
Well, you and I talked about that one day.
with the exceptions of what
Yeah.
they're gonna, with the strings is where I'm working on. I don't know what
With
that's,
the exception of what?
with the strings that's being attached to all this, I don't know what that could do to us. That's the part that bothers me more than
Yeah.
anything.
You're going to have some ratepayers ask you what this is going to cost me.
At the present moment, we're not, unless it's something unforeseeable, we're not seeing nothing.
No increase.
We got money, we got our side covered financially,
Good.
okay? At the present moment, unless there's
Yeah.
something unforeseeable here, we are covered on our behalf. Now, like I said, something unforeseen could come
Right.
up here and, like I said, with all this extras that we're starting to witness here due to the grants, I'm waiting for something to show up.
Well,
And that's what concerns me, but I don't know what it's gonna be. Well, we have the ability to pick up extra units with this, which we're in discussion right now.
Yep.
And enlarging our ratepayers base, which is gonna be a benefit to operate this thing too, okay?
Good.
And we're still gonna have capacity left over. So
That's good.
we're really doing good here. I mean, everything's really kind of falling together at the same time here. And we should not be operating,
good.
we should not be operating in the red for the first year or so. We should be able to operate in the black the way I'm seeing it. Unless there's something there we're not picking up at the present moment, but that's a projected evaluation at the present moment.
Good.
And I just want to add one bit of caution to that is that, we project this estimate to be what we said it would, but, that's all dependent upon the economy and the competition of how many people show an interest and their geographic location to the project, because if we might get 10 contractors, 100 miles away, so then mobilization, demobilization costs come into that. So, that all enters into the picture, and the compressed schedule adds costs too a little bit, because now, there's liquidated damages should they not meet the schedule. So, and there might be some overtime work involved with that to meet the schedule. So there's other variables that enter into the equation that will affect the price or the cost of the project. So, and we don't know, but we think, that's a good estimate. So, anyway. Is there any questions that you may have, or I can try to answer?
Randy,
Yeah.
do you think
This possible special meeting, obviously, if there is going to be one, it's gonna have to be advertised.
Right.
And I don't know how much lead time they'd like, well, it depends on where you put it, I guess, but.
On the
couple of
Duncannon
days.
record, yeah, you have to have it in by Friday for the following Wednesday.
Would it be too early to pick a date to hold that now?
I was thinking
Okay.
about that already.
Yeah, let's do
The
that.
question we got is you gotta look over the bid opening.
That's why the 23rd, and we gotta have time to take the bids and review them. We'll do a bid tabulation to make sure that everything is correct and the math is correct. And then we'll come back and, plus they have to be a responsible, apparent low bidder. So we would need to check if there's any references, if there's any question about that, and make sure their bid bond was in form.
Give
and-
us a time frame you need, and
Yeah,
then we'll
so
pick the date.
what I was thinking, if that's a Thursday afternoon, we get them Friday, Monday, Tuesday, that gives us probably 3 days to get our things in line and in order to then come and say, look, let's have a meeting and
You want the 28th?
that, what is the 20th?
Tuesday.
Yeah, and that's why I put in here 27th through May 1st, so,
Okay.
yeah. Yep, that 28th sounds fine to me.
I mean, we can make it the 27th, and then you've got homework for the weekend.
Yeah, well, I figured I'm gonna be working on this anyway. This is giving me a little added buffer,
Okay,
so.
or do you wanna go to Thursday? I mean, I don't care what's pushing
Well,
the board here.
it's up to you guys on your schedule too, because,
Wednesday night's township meeting, so I really
Yeah,
don't want that.
yeah.
Okay, we can't have that, okay? Unless we hold an early one, just for that and get it over with, but I don't think it's a good idea.
So I'm open to your suggestion of which I just, yeah.
28th is a Tuesday.
28th is Tuesday and 30th is Thursday.
Why don't we give them a little more time so they're not rushing through this, make it Thursday, and that's just my
The
opinion.
30th?
I agree with that.
And then they're not rushing through it and miss something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's wise too. Sometimes there may be some, I's that haven't been dotted and T's.
Well,
crossed.
you might wanna look at it too,
Right,
Dennis,
might
so
take
that would give us a
couple
little
days
more
to
time for,
Put that together.
And you were
Yeah.
talking on the 11th of May being, I forget what you were talking about there.
the 11th of May would be when, that gives us about 10 to 11 days then for them to get their bonds and insurances submitted. And if you,
We have a meeting that night, so if there's any decisions that need to be done, that 11th
Well-
works out well for us.
well, we're hoping the decision's gonna be made on the 30th.
Okay, but I'm still telling you.
Yeah,
that then
well,
we
that's
got a
good.
meeting on Wednesday, the week
Yeah,
after that.
that's good.
Then we got a meeting the Monday after that, so we got meetings all
Right.
through for 3 weeks then.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
why don't we shoot for that Thursday, and then typically it's 10 to 11 days by the time bonds and insurance come through, and then we could, if everything comes through, and again, Dennis may want to look at it, and I don't even know, CEDACOG might want to look at it,
Okay.
then we can make that award contingent upon this, and then, once all that comes through and it's adequate, sufficient, then we can just say yes.
7 PM?
7 PM?
This is not gonna be a long thing, right?
No.
April 30, 7 PM. Are you gonna take care of it?
Yes, Karen will do it.
It's special meeting for general business purposes.
Is that all I need
Yeah.
to, okay, I didn't know whether I needed to say it was to open bids?
You can, but you don't have to.
Okay,
But if you're gonna say that, I would just also say, and for any other business that comes before the board.
No, we're not
Just in
opening
case.
bids.
They're
We're,
already open.
yeah, we're
Okay.
gonna open on the 23rd.
just what'd you say, special meeting for general business
General
business
business
purposes? Okay,
No, the meeting on it, you said the 9th, right?
Well, the 9th is a
What time is it?
pre-bid. That means we're gonna we advertise that it's 1 o'clock, where we're gonna have all the contractors who show an interest come to the office, we'll discuss the project,
And we'll go up there.
and then we're gonna take a site visit.
All right.
Okay.
April the 9th at 1 PM.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's gonna give them basically a couple weeks to then put if there's any questions, and then there might be, requests for information and so forth, and if we have to issue addendums, that's when that will all come in and for the bid opening. Okay, so.
That's one way DEP works.
Yeah, okay. All right, any other and I will, if you want me, being that I talked to CEDACOG late yesterday afternoon to make sure there weren't any changes to the vendors list, and because they've been giving me updates right along for the prevailing wage, I didn't want to get these copied and published with knowing that I had to make changes. And Tyler Dombrowski called me late yesterday afternoon, so they're now into the printer. We're getting some hard copies for those people who would like them, and I can drop off a bound set of each and full-size drawings for you. Probably Friday. The printing people promised me tomorrow afternoon, so hopefully that holds true to form. So, and the contract documents are $100 for the general and $45 for the electrical. Because with the contract one general, there's 25 plan sheets, and then this is the information that would be in the spec book. And on contract 2 electrical, this is the spec book with 7 sheets of electrical.
So you're saying if somebody came in and wanted to buy them, we can sell them these?
No, you have them send them to me because I'm going to keep a plan holders list.
Okay.
And whenever there's time for an addendum, I will then issue the addendums.
Yep.
But they'll be here for somebody to look at and review. Also gave you CD
Yeah,
of each contract, so if you wanted to put that in the computer, you can pull that up and adjust the scale. It's all PDF, you know. Again, I want to get you full size, but there's a little glitch with that. And I think that pretty well covers that. Do you have any other questions? Or
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
We've got a couple issues with Sunshine Hill. Been inspection report here. I don't know if you want to refer to it or not, but we need to resolve well 1. I originally thought we were going to abandon it, and so did the department. If you look under notes on her inspection, third page was all. Okay? We're going to skip over all the violations and get down to the parts that have to do with Sunshine Hill repair. Note supplier has been issued a PWS construction permit for substantial upgrades to Sunshine Hill water to include bringing the water treatment above ground. That would be dechlorination and so on and so forth. To decommission of old used well 1. Apparently she's saying that was in the construction permit. And I thought we had agreed to do that. Decommission well 1. In talking with Randy, they were planning on keeping that in service as a second water supply. I think we need to resolve what the authority wants to do about that. You know the condition of well 1. It's got 5,000 gallons a day max. If we keep it online, we have to test it just like it was daily used.
I don't think it's worth it, really. We need another source. We absolutely need another well. Whether we go to the
Go after the well over
or we re-drill another well. I mean, we had put a consultant in here and wanted us to re-drill well 1. I think it's like putting two straws in the same damn cup myself. Yeah. And I mean, either we do that or we buy land somewhere and drill a new well.
What was the discussion with you and Bill today?
Well, Bill and I, and Ed and I talked about this too. The reason we kept it well 1 in place was because it is a source of supply. Granted, it's very limited, but if something would happen to well 2,
It would extend our days.
it would extend. Well, it would extend. I don't know if days, but assuming what storage was in the tank at the time, it would give you additional water.
Well,
Now-
if it has 2 days of reserve already in it
Yeah,
now, which
yeah.
is designed,
Yeah.
it would take time to recumulate. You might acquire an extra day over that whole time.
Well, 5,000 gallons a day, you get 10,000 gallons. But with Sunshine Hills, what we talked with, and I don't know if he said this to you, we thought with Sunshine Hills, it gives you a little added extra capacity. But with Fouts coming online, forget it. That's going to be a drop in the bucket. So what we talked about was, Ed and I and Bill Hill and I, we left it in there just as a backup, because DEP always likes to see some type of supplemental source of supply. It's better than nothing, okay? It's already in place. All we were going to demolish that area, and what we were going to do is extend the casing above grade. So, there really wasn't any additional money there, because we still had to demolish it. All we had to do was extend the casing up, and it would just be there.
We gotta test it though.
But then, from my conversation with Ed, DEP is going to $5,000 to $6,000 a year to monitor it.
If they require the testing on well 1, which they said will have to be tested just like a in-use water supply.
Okay, that's
All the water supplies that I know of have had to do. Now, if we had it already in the mix, it would be different. But we're going to have to probably go back and test that for SOCs. That's $6,000 the first year, and $500 a year thereafter
Okay.
for the one kind of test.
Okay, so we turn around, we drill another well, and we do the same thing to it, right? No matter what we do.
Yes.
But typically that well 1's not going to be used.
Typically, I
Yeah,
understand that. But
so-
what I'm trying to say is typically the other one that we would drill first hand by may not be used either.
Well, if we get a well, it's only giving us 5,000 gallons a minute, we shouldn't have that. well.
5,000 gallons a day.
Or 5,000 gallons a day.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have that well.
Well, I understand
Yeah.
that. I mean, it's
So-
like you said, it's better than nothing.
Yeah,
And technically, until we drill another well and get that stuff established, that inspection cost and everything else is gonna be there, whether it's that well or another well.
well, but you're hoping with the other well, you're going to get 55 gallons a
100
minute.
gallons a
Yeah,
minute.
but
Yeah,
we're hoping.
right. Again, you don't know until you drill the well, and you might end up drilling 5 wells before you get one that's good, even if it might take more than 5. You don't know.
That is
It depends on the
correct.
geology, the location, and everything else. The other point of view of that is if it's on a remote site, because you don't want to put the well on the same site, because, right,
Well, not if we're drilling, dragging the same water, I mean.
now you have more improvement costs to that site to get to the wellhead and getting power to the well site, and here's the thing with what we're doing is the well 2 utilizes a VFD to regulate the flow through the units, the treatment units, and that's a requirement of DEP because they don't want to see more than 55 gallons a minute going through the
We
unit.
know that. Yeah.
So we would have the same situation so much we're with well 1, we're not going to hit that, we're not going to get that rate. But for well 2 or another well, we're going to want to have to regulate the flow going through the process unit because DEP won't, the process units are rated for 55 gallons a minute.
I guess the bottom line is, that if we, to spend that amount of money on a well that gives us 5,000 gallon a minute.
A day.
A day,
Yeah.
Is it worth it? Is the money worth it?
I agree with Ed, it's not. It's not, and I think Bill, because once,
Well,
even
two
once,
goes down, you're gonna haul water in, end of story.
yeah. Well, and let me finish too. We're ordering another well pump and motor for well 2 as a backup, okay? So with the storage in the tank, if something happened to that well pump, hopefully we'd have time to change out, pull the pump, change out the motor or pump, reinsert it, reconnect it, and be good to go.
How many
If
days?
I'm wrong, if well 2, all of a sudden all the water ran out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, this is it's probably gonna be growing from well 1 also.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what happened, am I understanding correctly and making the right assumptions that the only other thing that can happen is the pump quits?
Well,
Which
lightning
case
strike.
We have 3 days to get a new one in the ground.
Yeah.
We have 3 days
You
storage.
guys make your decision
Well,
any way you want to.
depend.
2
well,
days?
It
I
depends.
see well 1 as a waste of money.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the volume or demand on the tank, and then we get fouts on it. And then if you get Stone Mill
Well-
Estates on it, that starts to dwindle down. But yeah, the other thing that Ed and I talked about as DEP's inspection was, they don't want to see well 2 in a pit. Okay?
This is a note on here, we'll get to this.
Okay.
Let's
But-
resolve well 1.
Well, what I was going to say with that, Ed, was that we were putting an extension or pitless adapter unit on well 1, but what we could do is just move that to well 2 to make that compliant with DEP's wishes, so we really aren't incurring any more cost on the project. We're just taking it and moving it, okay?
So it won't cost any more. Suppliers have been issued a construction permit for substantial upgrades, okay? Black glass. Abandon well 1.
Abandoning well 1 consists of what? We can still bring a cap up to the ground.
Well, no,
You have to
typically,
get a permit to abandon.
you got to abandon it. Usually they'll ask you to grout it shut too, because they don't want, but that's just putting grout down in the well and pulling the casing and so.
Now we'll go back to deficiencies. Second page, back of the front page, second item. Well 2 is located in pit. This is deficiency. It's not a requirement. But if we would put the extra piece that he was going to add to well 1 on well 2 in the pitless adapter, bring it up 10 foot, that would be above the grade, the ground grade. We'd abandon that pit at well 2, get rid of it completely. It would just be like anybody else's well with the thing sticking up above the ground. We would need a permit amendment
Which
to
would,
change well 2 to the above ground. But the department's gonna be very happy to see that happen. So a permit amendment for that would not be what I would consider a big stumbling block.
it's probably a minor,
Yes.
not a major.
Once again, in
Which-
discussing this with her, I said if they would decide to bring this up above ground and eliminate well 2's pit, we could use this, what was proposed for well 1 to, on well 2, and there'd be no additional costs, but you would have to get a permit amendment.
We'd have to file for a permit amendment, and I'd have to go through Mike Hess there to South Central DEP office. And we would have to grout the other well. Typically, they want you to abandon a well, they want you to grout it closed, fill it with concrete grouter. But we were going to add new piping connecting well 1 into the new piping for the other part of the system where well 1 and 2 were coming together. So, there's going to be a little bit of offset there in cost. And again, the pitless adapter unit for well 1 would be moved to well 2, and might be a little more demolition work for well 2 than what we, so there might be a little bit of an upside of the cost, but not much.
The minimum.
Yeah, I would think. So, Bill and I said, well, if it was just Sunshine Hills, that gives you an extra 5,000 gallons for how many residents? That probably is all right. But once you get Fouts on there, it's not gonna really.
Well, we gotta go get another well, that's all.
And
Somewhere.
the cost it's going to keep you to keep it online without really using it. You're just kind of for that amount of water that's available to you. I don't really think that it's worth it.
Then we'd have to re-drill it, and
Yeah.
if we get this,
But it's your, that was what we
Yes,
discussed.
Bob.
You're looking for elimination of well 1 and looking for a standby well site. What's Fouts using? Couldn't that just be put in mothballs and maybe be used sometime in the future?
some of them have arsenic in above the limit, that's why they gotta get out of the business.
And you don't have that with well 2?
No.
No,
That's good.
we
Yeah.
don't.
No,
But
we're
arsenic is
actually at
reasonably
a
common.
third.
We're in good shape that way.
But we are being proactive, and the building's designed that we can add that into the system later on.
I think it's actually gonna be in the system.
That system will be capable of removing arsenic. Right now, it's only for iron and manganese. And that system that we picked,
The advent.
which added a little more cost to the project too, because we went with that, allows for arsenic removal
And
as
the other
well.
well we're looking at does have arsenic in it.
Yeah. So, you know, I agree with Ed, I think,
Water, 100 gallons a minute, so.
yeah.
Something to keep in the back of your mind.
You guys make the decision, it's a tough call, I thought, but,
What do you think, Jim? What?
it needs to be resolved now, not later.
And how we'll handle that in the contract, we'll issue an addendum making the references where we're not gonna keep that, we're abandoning it, and we're gonna move the pitless adapter unit from well 1 to well 2. And so we can do that, but this is the time to do that, and we can then also discuss it at the pre-bid meeting as well to get everybody on board. So, if that's what if that's your decision.
One well vote here.
And to replace it, if we have to replace the well pump, we have, that can be done in a day. We have, what, 2 or 3 days storage?
Well, it depends on who's all connected. Now, if you got Sunshine Hills and Fouts, you know, it's a couple days storage, I believe. But then when you get Stone Mill Estates on there, then that draws that down even more
If we
because.
get them on there, we're gonna get their.
They're gonna get their well.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. So that was all into
What's the
the.
price of them coming on board?
Yeah, that's what we talked about before.
I'm still a little confused
Well, what do
on
you?
this whole operation, that we're willing to give up water when we're looking for water.
Well.
Okay, that's a confusing subject to me.
Well, I had the
I
same.
can't comprehend it, I do not understand it, until we find another source.
Well.
That bothers me, okay? And that's all I'm gonna say about it, so, if we wish to make a vote on this, I think we need to make a vote. Unless there's any more discussion.
I really don't think we have to vote on it, because I think we already made the decision a year ago. And that was to cap that well and abandon it. But I understand what you're saying.
But he has it in the plans as the other way.
Well, eventually we were going to abandon it, but it was only after we found an additional alternate source of supply. But we figured why take. I was with you why take something away when it gives you something with hardly minimal cost. But then Ed and I talked about this DEP person coming and doing the site inspection, and then the monitoring, lab fees, and so forth to keep this online. So that put it in a whole new light, different perspective. So
Now-
Is it worth it?
Next question I got is, so we find another source.
Yeah.
How do we interface that source into our water infrastructure?
that may be an issue. We'll have to see where the source is, and you're going to have to make a direct supply line to the treatment facility. If you have
Or build a new treatment facility.
exactly, because unless you come in with you don't have any iron, manganese, or arsenic, and all we have to do is disinfect, we can do that right at the source, and just build a little facility building there at that point. But I know the geology and the issues, the water quality issues that you have here, and that might be a little far-fetched.
What's far-fetched?
Thinking you're not going to have to treat it.
Oh, we're gonna have to treat it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
We're gonna have to treat it.
Yeah,
I know
so,
that.
you have iron, manganese, and arsenic.
All right, so what's the wish of the body? What do we need to make a vote? Or not?
Is it worth it for a period of time or not?
I'm torn.
Yeah, it's not a clear cut, but
Hate to spend money, but yet I hate to give up the water.
I say we make a vote and get it over with.
Is it
Then move on.
feasible to run a line from Fouts over to us?
Simple
At
three
the same
gates.
trench,
well, there's going to be added cost to that.
I understand.
Yeah, so how far and because right now we're just terminating down at Butcher Shop Road with that line, and then Fouts was going to bring it across the road into a meter pit and go up to their facility. So wherever that well or wells are located on Fouts' property, we'd be then responsible for getting it from there down to that point and then running the line from that point up to the building. So I don't know what that cost would be because I don't know what that distance would be at.
Well, there are wells over there about 20 gallon minute wells. You know what, it's not worth it.
I'm just
Well, I know
putting
it's
something
been,
else out there.
on since they've done anything.
You could approach Yates.
Well,
Is he willing to put that well online?
I understand.
We've got the plumbing going
back
in
end of that.
to and
What you
from
said,
it.
The front end would be. if
Already in place,
if
at the edge of our
everything's
property.
In the road.
Well, on the plans right now, we have just outside the treatment facility, booster pump station, we have a connection coming out just with a T connection and going several feet and terminating there with a gate valve, I believe, for a future connection from them. Okay, but that's all we're showing. We're not running it all the way to the property line and so forth. So,
You know, the original design
Give it
of the
benefit
Florida log
yeah,
was made to
I thought you said
supply
the initial
water
cost
over
was
to them,
$6,000
Yeah.
for the inspection.
to their treatment facility over there,
And then every year
and water
thereafter,
coming
it's
back to
$600
us.
or
Yeah.
something like that.
We can't wait
Every
for
year.
that forever.
yeah,
So we moved, we're moving,
right.
we gotta move. Let the authority vote on it, and we get it over with.
What'd you say the cost was, Ed, again? It was what, six grand to initially and then so much a year thereafter?
It would be at least, I'm almost sure they're gonna make us check it for SOCs, which is 6,000 for the first year's worth of testing,
Mhm.
4 quarters. If you're all negatives, then you only have to test once every 3 years. One time, that's 1,500. So it would be actually $500 a year if you spread it over your 3-year
Right.
period.
Right.
Along with that, there's gonna be probably the best part of another $1,000 worth of testing per year on well 1. Ongoing, VOCs, IOCs, and
Okay,
bacteria.
okay, gotcha.
Now, it's only initial hit that's big time dollars on testing. The initial year is gonna be pretty high. And that's, if it's just SOCs and the other ones that we have not tested for a very long time on that well, it's gonna be in excess of 6,000, probably closer to 10. To bring it up to current, then to maintain it, I think it's only gonna be maybe 1,000 or 1,500 a year after that. And I'm just giving you my best guess. You know, the department's gonna make us, when we filled out that document, we told them we were gonna abandon it. That was not binding.
Mhm.
They asked us what we thought we were going to do, and at that point, we thought we had Yanks coming on board, and we knew well 1 wouldn't supply enough, so we said we were going to abandon it. We're not bound to that, but we are bound to bringing it up to code and doing all the testing on it
Mhm.
if we keep it in service.
Okay.
I make a motion, we abandon well 1 and immediately proceed to develop a additional well.
I missed the second part. I got the abandoned well 1, but
And immediately begin,
In the year.
okay, go ahead.
looking for an additional well.
Okay.
That's over a period of a year.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second
It's been regularly moved and seconded that we abandon well number 1. Any more discussion?
And immediately proceed to develop an additional well.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, give the consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
How about if, along, you made your motion, that lets Randy move in a certain direction. I will do some research with the department about what if they could give us an estimate of what would be required in well one initially. In case you wanna change your mind, you can change your mind up to the point until you change the plumbing.
Yeah. I mean, we
Maybe I
could,
could get a better guesstimate, but I'm pretty sure the numbers I gave you are close.
and even if we award the contract, we could still go in that manner how we're bidding it, but then we would go through a change order process. But the only thing I caution you about that is usually, once you're in the award and the award's been
We've already
made,
discussed this.
we don't get the dollar to dollar. Yeah, so,
Yep.
you know, if there's an upcharge, we get hammered. If there's a credit, then you don't get the full credit. So that's how it typically works.
Now, could you resolve bringing well two to the surface and abandon the it's in? That's not in the plan as it is right now. In other words, would you give direction now on what you want to have happen with well two? Do you want to extend the casing, put a pitless adapter in it, and abandon that pit that's around it? That's a change from the current plans.
Well, and we could address that as an addendum issue, yeah.
Well,
But you guys gotta say whether you wanna do that.
Before it gets to a change order.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, that's, I understand.
Do we need a
why.
motion on that? Or not?
We can make a motion on it.
I'll move to do that.
Okay, second.
Been ready to move and seconded that we bring well number 2 to above grade and demo the pit around it. Correct?
What are you doing?
Demoing the pit around well 2 and bring it to the surface.
Okay. Thank you.
Any discussion? All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, let's move on here.
Before we get on there, I have a quick question for Randy, because I was asked this.
Sure.
With the construction of the lines in the street.
Yeah.
Is that all gonna be open cut?
Yes.
Okay.
And we initially wanted to have probably full surface paved, but we're just doing the trench because the cost associated with that would be
I don't know.
excessive,
is.
so.
Okay.
I know that came up at one meeting we met, about a year ago, back in the bigger room, and one of the residents asked if we're gonna resurface the entire road, and I can't see the cost. That would be prohibitive to do
I was looking at the drawings the other day, and it looks like on my end of the street, the line's coming down the west side of the street.
I think that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be open cut into, at least to my house, and that's okay.
That's phase 2, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be open cut all the way through there. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think we're looping.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, we
looping.
are, yeah, definitely. But
Yeah.
at the
There's
tap,
phase 2.
Yeah.
Jim lives here.
Yeah.
Well, one of these.
I thought it was either this one or that one.
where's the tap gonna be made? Where the old one was,
The tap for
my house and.
for the service connection?
Yeah.
Yeah, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna come as close as we can to the existing service connections, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna provide a new curb box, and then at that point, we're gonna make the connection from the existing connection to the curb box with the new curb box, and then tie into the new one.
We're gonna make that connection at no cost to him, being the homeowner.
Yeah, I think, and that's, I
Now,
think,
if you wish to repair your line and the curb box in,
yeah, that's
that's a
on
good
you.
time to do it.
I'm not tearing.
That's
the
on
front
you,
end.
yeah.
That includes a new valve, curb box and a valve.
I don't see
A valve, a curb box, and a curb stop.
Now, they're only
Yeah,
gonna do
yeah.
curb box.
Well, I was, that's all part of that assembly, yeah. And,
That's the purpose of that.
and what I would do, maybe between now and the pre-bid meeting, if it, I try to detail everything in the measurement and payment section 11, 01150, and that gives you a description of all the work that is contained within each bid item. Now be a little bit forgiving. There's 32 bid items, only because we had a phase 1 and we had that set up, and then we added phase 2, and it's a lot of the same items, but we had to specialize because we weren't sure whether the funding was going to come through.
Mm-hmm.
So I had it set up that way.
It could be added in or taken out of any.
Exactly.
I understand.
Okay. So it is a little excessive, but you're going to look and say, well, this is the same as phase 1, it's phase 2, but there might be some slight differences.
The windows were getting too close for us not to do it that way.
I know, that's, and I
Okay,
want.
let's keep on
Go
moving
ahead.
here.
All right.
Done with Sunshine Hill?
I am. Is there any other questions? Okay. All right. The next item is Michael Ward Sewer Plan Review. On March 4th, which was the last authority meeting, we were handed a packet of information from the authority, which I was told that at that time, Mr. Ward dropped it off at the authority office that same day as the meeting. I looked at that information that was submitted on March 5th. I saw that, it really wasn't anything substantial in the form of, he submitted information we really didn't need to be submitted, which was like a scope of work by a contractor with him. And then he had a couple pages of shop drawings on the pipe. I talked to Mr. Ward on March 5th and discussed that these submittals are not in the format as required by the Developer Specifications Manual, the authority's Developer Specifications Manual, and that we weren't going to review them because, not that we were trying to make issue out of him or make him set him aside and make an example out of him, but that would be the case for anybody. And this is typically the case not only in Penn Township and for Penn Township Municipal Authority, but any other township. Mr. Ward at the time was out of town. I followed up, I think that same day, with a memo to the authority alerting them that I discussed this issue with him, and he was out of town. He promised to call me back and take care of this and resubmit the submittals when he got back in town. I haven't seen anything since. So, also, if you recall, I noted in the report here that at the January 15th meeting, I had made mention that he has to follow the format and the submittal requirements that are specified in the Developer Specifications Manual and so forth. But again, we haven't seen anything, and Dennis and I talked. I didn't know whether something had showed up at the authority office that you guys weren't aware of, or he maybe was submitting something today. And evidently that's not the case. So.
Seems like Groundhog Day around here all the time, doesn't it?
Okay. So that's that. And
Okay, so we're going more further with that, okay?
No. And what he submitted to me is not format or even.
Okay, so with that being said,
Yeah.
we're at a dead end.
The ready-to-serve charge has not been levied now since December.
That's what I'm getting at. Plus Dennis already sent an email to everybody saying he was supposed to start making payments on
January of next year.
next year.
Yeah, he had negotiated with you to extend the start of those payments, I think,
For 16.
primarily because he intended to try to sell it.
Yeah, on the 16th, 2016?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
So he's got another, 9 months or so?
So everything we've done, the only thing we have not done is reinstitute the ready-to-serve charge. We agreed to him to withhold upon his good faith efforts, which at this present moment seem to be faltering.
Didn't happen.
Okay, so do we wish to reinstitute them?
I believe so.
Second.
Works for me.
Okay, been regularly moved and seconded that we reinstitute the ready-to-serve charge to MW2.
Okay, now, he paid for November and December, so we bill him for January, February, and March. Okay.
I'm gonna say we agreed we would take this on a month-by-month basis. So if we did not make that action for that month, I feel that month should be voided.
That would be,
Okay.
I think, the understanding that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
I would be very careful with the retroactive situation here, okay?
okay.
So.
That's fine. I didn't know
would say
I-
we-
what
we
month
would
to month
implement
meant.
that for, as of today,
Okay, so
okay?
are we bill in arrears? So are you saying I send a bill for March? I just sent out the sewer bills for the month of March.
Let me put it this way. Ain't nothing it's not gonna work out any way you look at it. 1 month one way or 1 month the other way. We can still do this April 1st and it's still not gonna make any difference.
Okay.
Okay? That's my honest opinion. I don't know what everybody else thinks. I mean, we're gonna turn around and yeah, we'll probably get our money. But,
Doubt it.
we got it before. But we gotta do something to try to motivate this thing and get it moving, okay? I also think that I think if it starts here in April, we send a letter to DEP, explain to him that there is nothing happening on his behalf. And we are at wit's ends of our ability to make this come together. We've done everything we possibly could, gave every break possible, and we can't do any more. It's in your hands again. I don't know what else to tell him. I really don't know where to go with this.
Yeah. And
We've buttoned everything up, we've took the paperwork, we've gave and gave and gave. Now, we're to a point that we can't give anymore. You try to work with these people and it turns around, and, sooner you get rid of one, you end up having another one. I mean, you try to help business and never mind, okay. So, we got a motion on the floor, and I'm saying, do we wish to make it for April or retroactive to March? In arrears.
I can just send him an invoice and say for the month of April. I can send him the invoice this week.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he would have, I mean, the reasonable, what we do is you suspended charging as long as he was making progress, so I think Henry's right.
Send for the month of April.
Well, yeah, you'd be starting now to impose that charge again, and then I would just say, however it falls in the billing cycle is how it falls.
I mean, if he was
Yeah.
here with a legitimate submittal package right now and a start date, and they will blame the engineer for holding him up because he ain't got the paperwork looked over yet. So that puts us in a 2-week startup mode. The weather's nice, there's no reason why it can't be started. I'm sorry, I mean, we sympathize with them due to the cold weather a little bit, but still, it's not there. So, I would encourage us to, I think we need to send a letter to DEP. Okay? And I don't really care if it's carbon copied to him. To let him know that we are communicating with DEP too.
I think it should be.
You know what I'm saying?
Dennis gonna do that?
Yeah, he's told me numerous times he's in communication, regularly with Sean Arbaugh, so
Yeah, he
he
said that.
shouldn't. Who's gonna send a letter to DEP? It doesn't matter to me.
I don't think you should.
I think you should, because we agreed, we as an authority will not do anything with this gentleman unless we go through you.
Yep.
Uh,
Who knows where
This
it's gonna
idea of
end
him
up.
calling and talking to one of us saying, well, we said this and we did that, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're done with it.
And what about if he calls me? Am I not supposed to speak to him?
As long as you and Dennis are communicating openly and there's nothing going on but he's not talking to us,
Okay.
okay? It needs to be moving between you two. You two are the ones that can make this
Well,
happen, we can't.
and when I talked to him on the 5th, I really felt that he was sincere and that he was gonna follow through, but,
I realize he
you
has
know,
other-
but anyway.
Yeah, you fell for that?
Yeah, I did,
We've been
so,
through 2 years of sincerity,
but, anyway. He complained a little bit about having to do this, but I said
Well,
it's,
I think he's, it's expense, he doesn't
Yeah.
want to incur.
well, but it's standard
Yeah,
anywhere you go, this
He's
is,
gonna incur it.
But
we're
we
not-
gave-
we're not
we
making
gave as
him-
much as we can give.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
all right?
Bite you one way or the other.
That's right.
yeah.
Welcome to being a property owner.
All right, is that all for Mr. Ward?
Well, wait,
We got
we
a
still
motion
got
on the
that
floor.
motion and.
Second.
Yep, I'm
No,
sorry.
no, Sam seconded it.
Oh, you're gonna move me second, and we're gonna make this for beginning of April.
Yes, as of April 1.
This is April 1, okay.
Aye.
All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Now we're done with you.
Nope, I got one other thing. Flow analysis report.
Boy, you're killing me.
Okay, yeah. We prepared the flow analysis report, we sent it up, and I think it was distributed possibly.
Well, we put one in the,
Yeah.
we put one in the packet, and I made one to give Ed, and I forgot to give it to
On the
Ed.
internet, don't
Yeah. So
Any
anyway,
Major changes to it?
we made our changes to it according to this year's data, and with Ed's help, we appreciate that, and Susan's help. And I gave you the information, right, that was sent to us for your file.
Yes.
And basically, if you want the bottom line, is that Susquehanna School District, and I call it Susquehanna, Sam. The connected EDUs for 2014 was 66. I think last year was 63, so we did go up 3. And then Kincora connected EDUs was 87 for 2014. And
And it was 75 before, so they've
Yeah.
jumped up 12.
yeah. So, and for 2013, the percentage was 16.9%. Now we're down to 2014, we're now down to 12.29%. So we dropped basically a little over 4.5%.
One question
So-
I have one question for King Cora.
Go ahead.
My concern is we already have EDUs bought that are sitting on the side. I wanna make sure that we ain't exceeding our capacities that's been figured in. That's the biggest concern I have. Okay?
How many did we sell?
Oh, we sold 10.
And
Huh?
He has 11. He had bought one,
11.
and you sold him 10 more.
okay?
Yeah.
That needs to be evaluated each year on this flow analysis, and then, with that being said, that puts King Cora in a management or upgrade.
Yeah.
Okay? We need to be very conscientious of that. Okay?
Yep. I made note
Because
of it.
those, technically, those 11 EDUs, it should be just like they're there,
Well,
at the
they're,
present moment, in my opinion. Okay? Because they could happen at any time.
We sold them.
Okay, they can happen at any time, and we need to be conscientious of that. So make a note of that, make sure that's legit. And we got time for King Cora's benefit, for them to come up with a plan to correct any issues if they're exceeding their
Yeah.
capacities.
I have not been wondering whether their flows, where do they compare them with the Cove plant? Or with the King Cora plant, their water meter flows? Has anybody done a comparison on that?
No.
Unless Karen's reading them.
Oh,
Well,
she's reading them, it's just that we're putting
You've
them in the
not
book,
compared
and, no, we never compared them before, so.
their peak flows were October, November,
The
December.
water flow between
Okay,
the
all right,
meter
hold on.
and the usage?
All right, hold on. Yeah, I stand corrected. Okay. When I said we've never done it, I meant Karen and I have never done it before. Okay? Not you.
Put that thing back down in there, Sam, it'll be okay, stuff her in there.
Well, anyway, the reason we felt that there's a drop, if you look at table 4 in the report, it's giving you the EDU comparison, and you can see the trend is going downward from starting in 2009 up to 2014. It's trending downwards, and we just feel that there's less, water being used, that's entering the sewer system. So,
Which is a good thing.
yeah. So, but also it's good that your percent of your, if you go back to the other tables,
You didn't get one.
table number 9, we're looking at
He emailed it to you.
12.29, and then there's those costs that are related to that, you know, that are being affected by,
We'll print
and that's
out
gonna
one.
be less than
I
it
don't
was
want
for last year, so. Okay,
Okay.
so if you don't have any other questions, I mean, that looks good.
Do we need to do anything with them?
Well, if you accept this, then we need to forward it on to the borough, and I don't know whether we do that or if you do that.
I've never done anything with the fill analysis report except file our copy.
Oh, I thought we also forwarded it on to the or to the borough, because that's how the costs are shared in there.
Anybody wish to look at it more, or do we want to make a decision on it tonight? Forward it on, approve it?
The question I would have is that we've always used that to build to build the school district and Kincora. I would need to wait for your go-ahead to tell me to do that, because it looks like we would be billing Susquehanna for 3 additional EDUs and 12 more for Kincora. Now that's going to get an answer from, a response from Kincora when we send them the letter. I always send them a letter saying, this is, you know, on the basis of this, as of your next billing, this is what will be.
That's why I asked, is their water meter showing that, their water meter showing that usage? They can't deny it if it is.
Let's do a little research on that before we make a decision on what we do with it, Susan, okay? Randy's gonna look at his, give us an opinion back on the increase there, where it's putting us. That way, when we talk to Kincora, we talk to them about everything at one time. We're not giving them a little here, a little there.
You're not changing the number of gallons per EDU, right? You're just saying that their number of gallons is now.
No, he used 150 on
We
that.
used 150.
If you look on the thing there, he uses 150.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna say our flow meter's reading too high. I'd like to know what their water meter's doing.
Correct.
So you think you'd approve the reports, but just defer any
decision
adjustments,
making
right?
on the evaluation of the report. Do I hear a motion to approve the report?
I'll make a motion, we approve the report.
Second? I'll second it. Discussion?
Are we gonna have him send it, are we gonna just send it to Duncan?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
Okay.
And then you send it to the department?
No, I don't think the department gets this. I
Oh, they
think
don't?
it's just for your intermunicipal agreement with Duncan and how much cost you share on certain expenses. Yeah.
All those in favor, give the consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? What else you got?
I believe
Well,
that's
you're
it.
long-winded tonight.
Well, yeah, I'm running out of steam.
You should, it's over an hour.
Tell him not to have such a big project.
Yeah, well, no, yeah.
Plan to rock and roll.
All right, operators report.
Okay.
Do you want to be dismissed?
We had some interesting leaks in Sunshine Hill. We had, in our house, we had a 45,000 gallon bay. And it wasn't Herman's trailer park, or Diamond's trailer park. It was a house that's been vacated on Sunshine Hill. I don't know at the exact place.
Is it still vacant?
No, that,
Yes.
you covered that last month.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
covered that last month, that's why I just went back and looked at it.
I'm sorry, okay. We had another situation on Petersburg Commons. We have a curb valve that the curb valves are a disc with a raised section about the size of my little finger sticks up.
The head got rounded off.
The key goes down over, it's gone. This raised up part's gone. Couldn't shut the water off, was leaking under the house. since it was after our curb box, it was the client, the homeowner's responsibility to fix this leak under their cement pad with the conduit. They're coming out to the ground. They dug it up, but they couldn't shut the water off to fix the leak. Kim Lanker bought some kind of tool. I don't have any idea, but I'd love to see how it works. That they managed to shut that off, replace the line, and make the connection without the curb box being shut off. In the future, we will need to replace that curb box. I'm going to suggest that we leave it go, pardon, until we have several curb boxes up there that are out of alignment with the valve below, whatever the case may be, because we have to cut the sidewalk, we have to cut the area between the sidewalk, the curb, and out into the street to replace that. Okay? And maybe we'd want to do 2 or 3 of them all at the same time, while we had equipment up there to cut and dig and so on and so forth.
Save some repair costs.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand.
So, this was just point of information that curb valve is cannot be turned off.
Can you make a, I guess is how I would like to see it done, Susan, a list of things for, like that area there that we have work to do on? I don't know how you want to do it. Put it in a folder, a repair folder, because this could be another year till this happens.
Petersburg needs.
Petersburg's needs, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I've been, 3 years since we went up there and dug the curb out?
Yeah.
And the other one is somebody's down in Cove. We have to put a tap in that should have been put in years ago. Whose property was
That's
that?
the one down on Railroad Street.
Yeah, I don't remember whose property. That could go in that.
That's a vacant lot down there, don't have a tap to it.
McGarrow, thank you. Okay.
That's not the lot that's for sale down there now, is it? I haven't been over that side. I don't know what's for sale over there.
Third one on the upper side of the crossing.
All right, let's look at Chris Metzger's report. Water supply inspection report.
How did they? Okay. Nothing.
Didn't I give you one?
No, that's okay. I'll get it off the tape. Go ahead.
Well, I'll get you one. Violations, flow rate from 60 to 95 gallons per minute observed. I'm not going to go into it unless you want me to. I have no idea how the flow rates got to 95 gallons a minute. The pump we installed in March of 14 was supposed to have a peak rate of 60 gallons per minute. After it was installed, I took a reading at our flow meter at 52 gallons per minute. When they read it the other day, and I have not, I'll be honest with you, I have not checked it for how many gallons per minute we're going through. But somehow they got a reading, not somehow, they got a reading at 95 gallons per minute. So, it says note, DEP verified CT using 95 gallons per minute. Because my chlorine level was high enough, we still met our flow log. Okay? That's what this next note says. This is what the chart at the very back of this shows. That at the chlorine level I was running, even at the high flows, we were meeting our flow log requirement, but we were not meeting our permit requirement of no more than 55 gallons per minute. What I did was I throttled back a valve in the well pit to 55 gallons per minute, chained it fast and locked it. This satisfied DEP because they know that we're taking it out. Okay?
You're convinced their equipment was okay and was accurate?
Well, it was nothing, the only equipment they used was a stopwatch in their cell phone. and I used a stopwatch on my cell phone.
Oh,
And I didn't, by the time I got to that point, I had already throttled it down while they were still there before they even left. The two women from the two inspectors from DEP. All I did was use my cell phone stopwatch to fine tune that to about 53 gallons per minute. Then I ran a chain around the hand, through the handle, around the thing and locked it fast.
Was that the bucket and watch method, that how they,
The flow meter, our flow meter. They
Gotcha.
were reading our flow meter.
they weren't taking from a source and filling up, okay,
No, they were reading our flow meter.
okay. There might be calibration issues with that. The other thing is, if the water level was high in the well, it's close to static, you're going to get a higher flow rate because now you're pumping against less head, or even on those tanks, if there was not adequate pressure in those tanks as a cushion, you're going to see less head, so that's going to cause the pump to run out to its right side of the curve.
The only thing that I know of that I did is I had the air overcharged in the tank some. I'm looking to see if that changes as that air dissolves into the water, because I have to keep adding air to those old tanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna see if that changes it any. It doesn't change the fact that the reading they got was the reading they
Right.
got, and I dealt with that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see you feel comfortable overcharging them tanks.
Well, no, I just meant,
Oh, we done that whole thing of that,
now, by that I mean, instead of the top third being water, air,
Yeah.
I probably had the top, not half, but more than a third. Or, no, I'm gonna say it this way. Ordinarily, when we took it over, there was a tape mark where the air line should be on a visible hose.
Mm-hmm.
Is the top fifth of the tank. I probably had the top third of the tank full of air.
Okay.
Too much air in it. All it does is cut down on the pump cycles.
Yeah.
Okay? The pump comes on, runs longer, stays off longer.
Okay, we understand
All
that.
right. So I don't see how that could have made it pump faster. And there's all kinds of theories about, I've been trying to figure out why and how. Obviously, we got a pump that was not what we ordered.
better than what we ordered, huh?
It must have been to pump 95 gallons a minute.
But you made Christine happy before she
Yeah.
left, right? That's all that counts.
Well, 2 does not have an overlapping watertight cover. That's C1 and 4, okay?
Yeah.
That's a different lid, that'll go away with the pit.
Yep.
Gaps and holes in well 2 compression seal, that'll go away with the extension. Okay, I hadn't been down to well 2 since January. This was March 9th. And when we went to try to get into it, I couldn't get the lock open. That's C4. Not maintaining a, because I didn't trudge down through the snow between January and March. I figured I could see tracks if anybody was down there. Anyhow, sediment in the chlorine tank, that's fine. That's a matter of taking it outside and washing it. Changing the pipe, the next 2 on the next page. Pressure blow-off pipe, I don't know when that broke. There's a pressure relief valve on the line, and it goes out and goes out and goes over to the edge of the little trap door, and the pipe was broken. And I didn't even know it was broken. She saw it, I did not see it. It's not in service, except if the overpressure. That's gonna go away when we replace it. In the meantime, I can try to put a sleeve, glue a sleeve on it. That's the blow-off pipe on the chlorine injecting port. That's the 3rd item down. C1 and 4, a missing plug. Okay, so the lid
Man, they have a
The lid on
checklist.
the chlorine contact, chlorine addition tank, day tank, has a plug in the middle of it. I didn't even know it because I keep my flipboard over there. But when we looked under there, that thing was missing. That I found it, cleaned it, put it back. Chemical feed, that's an anti-siphon valve issue. Okay. Well, two is lacks water, raw water sample point. That's because that's where we hooked up the phosphate. So when I'm on a raw water, I unhook the phosphate, get a raw water sample, but she wrote that up. I'm not going to go into the gel spec thing for calibration on the chlorine meter. They sent me, I ordered a new kit of 4 little bottles, cost me $150. They didn't sell me a paper testifying to what those little bottles should read. That's what this says. So I'm going to get that from Hack, and that'll be taken care of.
They are.
I'm going through this very quickly because you guys are already bored with it. Please take these home. Let me know any questions you have after you have a chance to read them over.
And this is just like driving that old beat-up car and trying to get it ready for inspection one more time.
There you go.
This is going to be the final, we're getting close to the final inspection.
I ran out of duct tape on this job. That's why I got all these things here. I was out of duct tape.
Truthfully, Ed, I really don't have a problem reading this on my time, because you're gonna correct these issues to make her happy till we get through this.
Yeah.
It is a little bit entertaining knowing that they know that we're getting rid of this and they're still being hard, and I understand that.
Well,
But
they have a checklist.
they got a job to do.
Yeah.
They've
And I
got a
understand
checklist
that.
and they have to check off yes,
Yes.
no in each one.
Yep, understand
It's a
that.
black and white thing. That's fine.
So-
Like she said, she didn't have any heartburn with anything here, and she understood that we were working towards making things a lot better.
Is there anything really here that needs our 300% attention?
I'd like to have you sign a copy of this. Maybe at the bottom of the 3rd page where it says received by, just put Henry Holman, chairman, in there. And then I'll send it back down to her at some point after you have a chance to look it over.
Sign it down there with a certified operator engineer, sign it beside that, and you have beside the date.
I think you said received, you said received by.
Yeah, you can do it there.
okay.
I actually received it, but I'd like Henry to show that the authority saw it.
All right,
Okay?
you want me to sign it there beside Christine's name?
Yeah, to the left.
Yep.
And I'll send her a copy of that and make you another copy to take home. The other thing we did, when you read in here about discussion with Mr. Chisholm and completing annual Act 220/110 water withdrawal report, I couldn't get DEP to separate out. DEP Act 110, 220, now 110, they and the DEP inspecting people are two different birds in the same nest, but they don't talk very well. So when DEP split out Petersburg Commons, made a separate water supply, remember?
Mm-hmm.
The other people didn't split it off from Sunshine Hill. I undertook to do that, and it's now done. There are I do two 110 reports. Here's this one, you have that one. That's taken care of. We'll be doing 2 of the 2 110 reports. In the process, I found out about unaccounted for water. I misunderstood what they were talking about, and so in the process, I've corrected that. I found out we're losing more water or have meters not working right in Sunshine Hill. We'll have to see what comes of this when we start digging up lines. But Susan's billing for a little more than 2/3 of what I say I'm pumping out of the ground.
So the water meters are not accurate in
Or
Sunshine.
we've got a lot more leaks than I thought we had.
Well, those water meters are probably pretty damn old
Let's
by
say,
now.
how old are they? Because Sam says that they start going to the benefit of the customers.
They do, they slow down.
Yeah, they do.
That's what I was trying
Don't
to,
come to my place and look at my meter now.
that's what I was trying to tell you is if you read the report and see in there about the discrepancy in flow rates, this is what it is. That's the end of my report.
Well,
Yeah,
that's probably something we never talked about, but it's something we need to
Well,
talk
that's
about.
probably something we ought to address as
Yeah,
we're
we
doing
do.
this upgrade, putting the
Yep.
meters in as we work our way through.
Yep.
And meters and backflow
And our
preventers.
water bills will go up.
That's a good point. That's a good point. We ought to, when we're doing that, we ought to replace meters,
Can we replace them, or do we go pull them out and refurbish them?
pull them out, refurbish them, but we need to install backflow preventers. Now, whether we'll have to do that or whether we'll have to ask the residents to do it or not, but there should be backflow prevention devices on those. We require them on all new construction now.
Not a bad idea.
What I was gonna ask you is in this regards, and I don't know who can tell us whether it's an appropriate thing to do, but since a lot of places would have to be replumbed inside, put a backflow preventer in, is it appropriate to put one down at the curb box while we have that apart?
It's gonna be in a pit,
Wow.
Not
No way to
necessarily,
service it.
not necessarily.
No, it won't be.
no way to
What?
service it.
Well,
No, there'll be
your,
no way
the
to
curb
serve.
box is just, it's only like this big, and it's only to sit over top of the curb stop, which is just this little, key-operated valve. And there's really no room in there for.
There's
for
no
a
way to
back-
service this thing if it malfunctions.
Yeah, that's right, because it's gonna be buried.
It's an inside building tank.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was just asking, I didn't know whether there was enough,
Now, the other thing would be is it could be just as simple as putting a check valve in too.
Well, a lot of these new meter setters,
that's all
That's
they
all they
are,
are.
yeah,
it's just a check valve.
have
Oh, yeah,
those,
that's at my house.
they'll have
Yeah,
like a
valve
check valve,
shuts off.
yeah. Yep,
But not all of them do. But not all the
I
houses.
put that in myself.
Yeah, and that's a good idea.
It's
I
just
don't
a
know
simple shut-off valve.
Yep.
That's all it is. So when you change the filter,
No,
oh,
this is just this is
It's
not, it's
automatic.
like a little
Check
flapper, keeps
Yeah.
everything.
oh, I know
Because I
what,
guess
I
water
know.
water blows through, okay, so if
I-
it's going backwards this way, it goes shut.
I understand that, because I got one on my sump pump,
mm.
Yeah,
which
Yeah.
goes out on my driveway, by the way, I just wanted to let you know that. But, no, when I changed the filter, I shut off the main and I shut this one off.
Yeah, but they're manually hand valves.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're hand valves, they're not check
Yeah,
valves.
that's a nice one.
Well, yeah, I know the difference between the two, but
Well,
it works the same.
we had to figure this out for, do everything at one time.
But I think it would be a good idea that
Tell the
we,
people what's coming.
say we buy 10 meters, 15 meters, have them serviced. Even if we get the check valve that goes with it. I don't care if we buy the check valve with it, then it's done that way.
can I ask you a question? Let's just say we're gonna buy a check valve to install in this house and refurbish the meter. Would it be worthwhile looking into whether there's a meter with a check valve built into it that fits in the same space?
Sitting there thinking,
It may not be any more expensive for us.
yep. Find
know what I
some
mean?
LV water and ask that.
It's a good question.
And then we wouldn't have to ask the customer to replumb our house.
They might even have meters with built-in back.
I mean, to me, it seems like that would be a good thing for somebody to have made because you'd have good
Yep.
sales for them. Okay.
A direct line replacement.
Yeah.
All right, anything else for you?
No, and once you guys have a chance to read over that inspection report, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call.
And I need to take care of these with you then too.
Those are eventually going to be in the circulation file. Those are documents that they're requiring that I submit as a circuit rider. I need to get 2 more to you, one for King's Floor and one for Cove. Someday. Maybe I'm gonna wait it out, I don't know, let's see.
All right, you're done?
I'm done.
All right, field representative report.
The reports in the
Packet.
In the packets, or not in your packet, it's in your go around, I guess it is in there.
Yeah, you made copies of them, or she did.
I guess it is in there, yeah, there's nothing too much out of the ordinary, just little things that we did. We did have a report of a sewer backup on Fouts Road. Mr. Chisholm and I went out and pulled me and holes and everything and determined it was not in the main. They were having issues, it must have been in the laterals coming out of their buildings. I think they had 2 buildings that were backing up at the time. Now, I don't know what they found out there. Third one from the bottom, electric overloads on pump number 2 and low. There's been a problem, an issue there over the last couple of weeks, months, regarding the stepper valve, or stepper switch that changes from one pump to the other. They're supposed to rotate. The stepper's not working.
I think the relay's wearing out.
Well, I changed that stepper. I changed the relay. Now, the pumps run in manual. They'll run fantastic. They don't trip or anything, right? But they will not flip-flop from one to the other. I talked to Mr. Chisholm about that, and we're going to get a little time. We'll have to go down and check the schematics and see what's going on. There may be another contactor in there that actually sends a signal to the stepper switch and tells it to work, that we're missing. But that's the only thing we got going on now. I'm sorry, it wasn't the third one from the bottom, it was the one right in the middle.
Anything else? I thank you for taking the time to go down and take care of that.
When I was down there today, and I took these
These are
pictures,
days off now.
the pictures there that Dennis has. Personally, I think the water coming
Or
out
you can give them to
of that pipe is
You're on your way
runoff.
up, you know.
Really?
It's clear,
Even with,
it is clear. I did not smell.
Oh, no, the building shut down Good Friday.
Oh.
Township office is closed.
That's what I was saying.
Are we talking about?
that's
Yes,
what I got
yes,
thinking.
yes.
Yeah, that's their hall.
There is definitely water coming out of that pipe, and you're absolutely right. It's coming out of there at that same continuation all the time.
It's flowing all the time.
It's like
that
a
way.
spring. It's
Yeah.
like a spring
So
flowing
the
out.
chance it's not sewage at all?
Well, that's my thoughts, but I don't know. Yeah, stop stuttering. It comes out, if the water is coming down off of that mountain into their septic tank and coming out of the septic tank and then going down over the hill, it's going to be clear, but it's going to carry the E. coli with it. I have no idea.
I mean, you gotta realize there's so many variables in them places down there. Floor drains and everything could be running in there, spring water could be running in, going through and coming out. It's all mixing in. I mean, that may not even be the line.
Oh, it is a mess.
There may be a leak somewhere else that's leaching out through there, and that ain't the issue.
And you would be certain, well, probably not, you all live around here, you see the amount of water that comes off of that mountain.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all rock underneath it. They built everything on rocks. You down there, dig holes all over the place. Holes down in the rock.
They had, totally unrelated to us, but I got phone calls from people down there wanting to know about their water system because it was frozen up on them. They weren't getting any water. I said, it's not ours. Well, whose is it? It's coming through the pipes and coming into my house.
Oh my God.
I said, it's not ours.
Jeez.
I said, told the gentleman that called me, I said, my suggestion would be to find somebody that's lived down there for about 20, 30 years, talk with them, find out where they're getting their water, and then go from there. Because
So it comes out of the pipe and that's all they know?
that's all they know. DEP is aware of that water system down there
But
that has,
they've
and
taken
they
it-
do nothing about it.
And
Well,
they-
it's not, you
no,
gotta
they
have so
did.
many,
Yeah,
you
they
gotta
did.
have
They
so
did.
many to
Yeah.
be a public supply
It's
though.
corrected.
You gotta have 15 or more connections to be a public supply.
Yes.
You count the houses down there in the mountainside?
Well, I don't know, I don't know.
There's definitely more than 15.
Yeah, but they may not all be connected.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think they're all connected.
A lot of them drilled wells when that issue
Yeah.
came up. Berkheimer got out of that, everybody else is in there. They supposedly satisfied DEP.
Yeah, I was there when that happened.
All right, yeah, all right.
But there are people down there that's getting water coming in through pipes and not knowing where it's coming from.
I know somebody put that in.
And they're potable, I guess, huh?
No.
It's good
No?
water.
No,
Yeah,
they're
it's
not.
good water,
It's good water.
it's spring water.
They got that much water pressure, they had to put pressure reducing valves in there. It's over 100 feet in elevation.
Oh, it smokes.
It's a 2-inch PVC line. I don't know what that is, but anyhow,
But anyway, that's where I've been, that's what's going on.
it's a good system. It's just that it's not, they gotta keep it underneath the
Gotta make sure they keep it under the knife.
under the
I was
top,
up there, they had a
which is what,
Send those
spring
checks
house
around
and the
for
damn
people
roof,
to look at.
a tree came down and caved it in. I was up on that one, I know where that one's at. But that one we found out didn't have enough, it wasn't a public water supply, it didn't have enough water.
There was a big concern there whenever.
They did fix it though. They
There was a
fixed
big
that.
concern there whenever the development was talked about coming in up there, as to how that would affect their water.
I remember that.
Mhm.
I remember
There was
that.
there was a big to-do on that, yes.
And that spring house was pretty damn far up there, because I walked up to the thing.
That's what he said, it's
Pretty
over
damn
100
far up
feet.
there.
Yeah.
it's way up there. Yep.
What do we got next?
All right, done with you, Sam?
Yes, master
Thank
meter
you.
report. The only thing of master meters that we spoke of was the stepper switch down at Lower Duncannon Pump Station.
Are you, I know you wanna get you out of here, but with him, these reports that he gives on the meter readers and everything else like that, are you, with our flow analysis and our reports that we gotta do for chapter 94, are you happy with what you're seeing, any deviations in that?
I think so. The only thing, well, getting back to concordance, Susquehanna, you guys are gonna check on the flows on that for water usage, right? We're just gonna check on the available EDUs. Okay.
Yeah, we wanna make sure that,
yeah.
I want both sides of that checked out and
Yeah,
reported back.
Yeah, and Brent Wolf does the chapter 94s and the flow analysis. We touch base with one another, and he tells me what he's finding, and he hasn't had any issues, and he said that, Susan and Karen and Ed have been a real big help.
And we are definitely staying under 150,
Oh, my word.
Oh, yeah.
okay? That's what that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, I wanna make sure the whole board understands that our numbers are there at a reasonable thing. We've dropped that.
Sunshine Hills average is 88.
Yeah, what happens on the flow analysis report, I don't know if you're aware of this, but once it's some type of an agreement that you have with Duncannon, once you drop below 100 gallons per day, we discount that. So then he goes and massages the information and re-inputs it, and it's a convoluted process, and he's on top of it. He knows I don't know that I fully understand it, but he takes those numbers, and it gets very laborious in getting this thing to work out, because once you get it below 100 gallons per day, then that drops out. And then you have to reinstitute it somewhere else and recalculate everything.
But since being on the board, I've noticed the EDUs going down and down and
Yeah.
down and down, and it's
And-
been constantly doing that.
And because your water consumption and so forth is dropping, that's what I'm
Water
saying,
saver fixtures
it's
are going into
trending
place,
downward,
yeah.
It's gonna eventually plateau out, I would think. But then again, with the new water system coming online and so forth, with Sunshine Hills, people say, hey, we got good pressure, and you never, it might start to go the opposite direction, but.
All right, I think we're done with that. I think we're done with you.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, and I'll see you guys on the 9th.
Okay,
Yep.
Randy.
All right, thanks a lot.
Penn Township Supervisor's report. I guess we don't have one. Solicitor, Dennis, you're up.
First, get it out of the way, Kisner, I started another sale proceeding on a more recent lien. And I haven't heard anything on the other matter. It's been quiet for a couple weeks or so. There will be a hearing coming up on that at some point, but maybe this new proceeding, sort of makes it moot in a way. So we'll see where that heads. I'm hoping that it does, so we can get some of these costs and, time and aggravation under a little better control. Last month, we talked about a couple of things on the delinquent accounts. One was, can we publish the names? or information, names and or other information about delinquent accounts. And I can't remember who, somebody mentioned that East Pennsboro had.
I did.
I checked with East Pennsboro, talked to their manager at some length about it. What happened was the Patriot requested under the Right to Know Act or law the names and information about
Oh, the
delinquents.
newspaper did.
Right, for almost all the municipalities, or maybe all of them in Cumberland County.
Ah.
Lemoyne Borough would not provide them, so it went to court, and the court ultimately determined that the Patriot was entitled to the information. The Patriot actually published the lists.
Okay.
So East Pennsboro didn't.
Okay.
East Pennsboro only provided the information to the paper because they were, once the court ruled that the paper was entitled to it, that they provided it.
Okay.
So there's a big difference in my mind between the Patriot News unilaterally, for whatever reason, deciding to publish this kind of information, and the township itself, or this authority, going in and putting the ad in.
Right.
So I wanted to get that to you first. I didn't want to go do research and examine whether we have the right to ask the paper to print these or not. I can do that. I have a feeling it's going to be an unsettled area where you're going to have lawyers on each side of the argument. But maybe to try to eliminate, having you spend money to examine that, and this is just a thought, and I don't want this in advantage, but maybe we see why did the Patriot do that, and why did they only do it for Cumberland County, and maybe they could do it for
There
other
was a
areas.
big, I wondered that too,
Right.
because I read all that stuff in
Okay.
the paper. I kept up on that. And I was surprised that they never came in, because Karen and I talked about it. We have this, we have customers asking for this.
You have customers ask for
Well, I
that?
can talk.
Well, the citizens group gets this every month.
Well, what's the citizens group doing?
They can physically put this in the paper.
They could.
They're probably gonna be nervous about, maybe they'll be nervous about doing it.
Oh,
But
it's-
if you don't, I'm willing to talk to the
I mean, just-
reporter that did it for Cumberland County and just see what, why did you do that? Or is there a thought about doing it for
Other counties.
other areas in
Other
your distribution area for the paper? You want me to try that
I
before
mean,
we
you
get
could
into
get,
it?
you could get a ratepayer that would be up in arms about this.
Sure.
and
Well,
do
now,
it
they did
themselves
not
personally.
publish in the paper, they didn't publish a list of names. What they published was just the total number of the amount that was delinquent.
Okay.
Oh, they didn't?
Yeah, they didn't publish
I thought-
names.
No, they didn't publish names.
No, I never saw the
Oh.
names in the paper. It was just,
I saw the articles about the total. I thought they had names in too.
I thought they had names
I'll ask this reporter. I have her name. It's Allison somebody.
Yeah. I forget her last name.
Yeah,
but
I'll find out what the deal is and report back to you. In the meantime, I found out, I talked to the Authorities Association again, and the executive director told me about an authority in western PA called Saxonburg that has a policy that they plug sewer lines if people don't pay. So I thought, wow, what? Never heard of that. I said, anybody else do that you know of? He said, no, they're the only one. So I called and talked to the manager, and I'll tell you, it's a significant sized authority. I mean, they have like 3,700 customers.
And they plug the
Yeah,
freaking
the
sewer?
borough is small. The borough of Saxonburg is maybe 1,800 people, but they also have a number of townships that are in their
Infrastructure.
in their system.
Yeah.
I said, they do it all the time. They don't go on the property. They do it in the right of way where where the line would go into the main. They dig it up and they he called it a plumber's plug right in the sewer
Oh,
line.
my God.
And he said, I'll be darned, we don't have too much delinquency trouble anymore. And they have a connect and a disconnect charge for that reflects the construction cost, the authority to do it. $1,200 a pop, $1,200 to plug it, $1,200 to unplug it.
Oh, my God.
And he said,
I never heard that one.
we do a Pennsylvania one call, and he said, because they have to, and they go out and paint right on the road, and he said, that usually gets us paid. He said, we only, I think he said we've only plugged 6. And he said, I might have a couple of months that we'll get to the point of having to go out and do the one call and paint, and then we get paid.
Holy hell.
But I never heard of it. He said their solicitor gave them a legal opinion that they could do it. I have a call into the solicitor. I don't think he'll give me a copy of his opinion, but if he gives me enough information, maybe I could verify some things. They also have, like you, they have a portion of their sewer system that is served by public water, and they will do the water disconnect. And that has been effective too, but of course it isn't effective where somebody's on a well, and that's why they instituted this process. As far as I know, the only one that does it, they haven't been challenged. They've been doing it for about 7 years.
Holy heck.
Well, they're gonna get
And you know, when you
by
think,
then.
well, when you think about it a little bit, you know, if you can disconnect water service, which you clearly can do because of public water service, because the law provides for it, if somebody's served by a well, this really kind of, in a way, gets to the same place when you plug the sewer line. So maybe, you know, I don't know. I haven't examined it legally yet. I will do that. If this is something you would want to, that you would want me to explore,
Red lines all
I'll
over
get as much
115.
information as I can from this solicitor, so I don't have to spend it a story. I'm going to probably end up telling you what you expect I'm going to tell you, even if I in-depth research this. I'm probably going to say,
Don't do it.
there's only one community we know of that's doing it. If you get challenged, we're going to be off to the court system, and who knows what might happen.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to end up saying it's not definitive that you can do it or not do it, but you know what? Somebody's doing it, and it's working, and maybe,
Let's put it this way, if we picked a flat fee, if we picked a price on there, like say 12 months delinquent, and then we took action on 1 or 2 of them like that, and then we just started tightening the vices down on a 6-month delinquency or 8-month delinquencies and just started shortening that down. Sooner or later, I mean, just like you said, we're painting on the road kind of tells you, and then put a note up in the wall.
Yep, yes.
1 week, we will be digging up.
They
Or we got
post-
3 days.
you
3
know-
days is the one call, right? How many
Yeah.
days you got after one call? 3 days.
I didn't give you all the details of their policy, but they do, I mean, there's a bunch of notices that go to these property owners. They have a very thorough
info.
system. They give notice 1, they give notice 2, I think they post the property. And so it's a progression of activity.
I
And
agree.
of course,
We
the
post
guy
the
said to
sign.
me, you only have to do, you know, normally you do a few of these and the word gets out. Now, they're still having to do them, but they've got their delinquency problem under really good control.
I'll bet.
I mean, you
And, you know, just because somebody can, I may tell you it's fuzzy and it's not crystal clear, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. And we see what happens, you know, I mean, nobody wants to be in court, but.
pick your worst
hey,
ones first and start
they've
working
been-
backwards.
They've been doing it
They
for
take years to get it there, but we'll try.
And even if you end up, you know, I can certainly see arguments. I mean, where else do you not pay for service but continue to get it? You know what I mean? Nobody,
We
why
got
do you have to
we
keep
got
giving
ones paying
service?
for service and they ain't even, wasn't even hooked into the system.
So, you know, I don't want to presuppose where my opinion might be, but I'm just saying, do you want me to take a little further look at it and gather some information?
I don't
won't
think it's
do
gonna
it.
hurt.
I don't think it's gonna hurt.
I won't do any extensive research. I'm gonna try to get as much information
Yeah.
out of the solicitor as I can.
Right, yeah.
Very interesting, never heard of it.
Well, you can find, how much does it cost to take a backhoe out there and do that?
Well, they said $1,200.
Well,
They said
oh, that's
$1,200 open
Yeah, he
up.
said
That's
that,
$2,400.
what he told me is, Elmer, that's pretty close to their actual cost. They haven't,
And then
they haven't tried to mark
they
that
bill
out.
the customer.
Yes, yep.
Oh, my God.
And then if somebody wants it hooked back up, they gotta dig it up and do that, and it's another
Wow.
$1,200.
Holy
Wow.
mackerel. I
But the
never heard that one.
the war paint out there on PA one call, you post a letter up, say 1 week, within the next week, PA one call is
Yep.
gonna be here and we will be capping your sewer system. If you wish for this not to happen, please contact us and then go do it. You do 1 or 2 of them, it's gonna change all the rules.
Holy hell, I never heard of that one.
Well, when you think about it, if somebody's gonna, if they're gonna take a court challenge to activity, that's gonna cost a heck of a lot more money than it does to just pay your bill. So,
Yeah.
there may be it may be a fairly low-risk proposition.
There's a few places, though, I won't wanna be digging down to put a plug in.
Yeah, well, with our one customer here, it probably wouldn't make any difference if you plugged the line.
There's a few up there in
Yeah.
Susquehanna Hills, I don't want back down now.
But that's the exception. I mean, most of these, almost all of them, where else is it? If it can't get out there, where's it going?
Yep.
And he said, we've had some that we plugged it, and he said they continue to live in there for a long, one guy over a year. I said, what the hell did he do? He said, probably went to his neighbor's house. He said, I don't know what he did, but he said eventually he came around.
In the 1800s, you got a pot in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I'm still having trouble wrapping my head around it.
Yeah, didn't take a shower, had a
The
complex
only
toilet.
other thing for tonight, and I'll explore that more, is I talked to Karen, we went over the list of installment payment people. There's really only two that we felt were really egregious, so I have letters going out to them. And if they don't get on track, I'm gonna come back into you and we'll go to step 2. But those installment ones are getting down pretty good. A lot of the people, the numbers aren't that high on what their balances are.
Okay.
Regular delinquents, we went over the list, Karen and I, pulling the bankruptcy people out for the moment. We have about, I'm gonna say 9 that I'm gonna go ahead and gear up for a sheriff's sale that we're not in a sale yet. So I'm gonna get started on, it's about 9 of them. I can tell you who they are if you want. Do you have your list there?
Yeah.
On the water side, I have, well, you might be on the sewer too, 724.
Yeah, he's on sewer too.
724.
And 319.
Okay, yeah, 43,
40.
that's in the state. 907, no, I'm told that fellow's incarcerated.
Yeah, that's correct.
Neither here nor there. 953 and 955, those will get some more,
54.
some more.
All 55, I'm sorry,
Yeah, that'll get some more excitement.
Oh, yeah.
1022, which is really odd that that's a
Wow.
bank.
The bank?
Yeah.
Holy hell, when the bank don't pay their bills.
1142. And of course, we know about 1159, that's already underway. 1150.
1159, you will know more about that by the end of the month.
Yes, I will. Yep,
And you will communicate that to us?
I will.
And then if it does not get straightened out, the bank structure, then we need to pursue our
Yes,
next
we
level.
need to go together. By the way, just for your edification, and I called those folks, I'm gonna say it was Monday, and left a message, because I wanted to update them about that proceeding. I never got a return call. I left a message on the voicemail. Odd. I would have call. And I guess since a couple people were out and didn't notice odor or any significance, I'm starting to wonder, I guess, a little bit about how bad it is. I mean, I don't mean that in a real critical way. I wouldn't want it next to my house either, but
I found a letter in the file that this went back 5 years ago. That there was a complaint letter in the file when I was looking through.
from these folks.
Mhm,
Oh,
about this whole thing. Yeah, it's been going on for a long time.
wow, okay.
I mean, they have every right to complain because the tank ain't backed up.
Right, no, I agree.
So I mean,
I
till
agree.
that tank goes away, this issue is still an issue.
Yep.
It's not their issue.
Okay.
But they have every right to be concerned about it. That's the way I see it, so.
The one that we're, 1150 is real close. Apparently there's some payments, there's an effort there, and I'm gonna hold off with your consent for a couple months here to see if the effort continues. If that It's a pretty big balance, so if it doesn't, I'll get them on my list.
Okay.
So there's gonna be some activity, and who knows, in a few months, maybe we'll be plugging sewer lines.
Look at 163 there. I was up, not there and up at 800 rather. I was driving along up there the other day and I saw that there's quite a few vacant rental properties there. Is there any way that we can say, you know what, you can't rent those properties until you pay some of your bill, bills?
Let me
in
look
my
at
mind-
that.
In my mind, that is theft of services, you know? And I think I asked this question to you before, and I can't remember what your answer was at that time. That's the only reason I'm bringing it back out
So
now.
you're saying, can we refuse to allow them to re-rent?
To re-rent until they come current. Whether it be that particular person or whether it be any, a tenement building, like, you know?
Let me look at that, and I forgot about that one. I also, there was a plan filed in the bankruptcy court. Now, they paid, I think they're paying their current bill. I know they did last month. I don't know about this month yet.
Yeah, this month they did too. That,
they're-
and they
they're-
put a $700 water payment on.
Okay, so they're paying their current bill. The bankruptcy part is sitting there, and I think it's waiting for the plan to go through the approval process in the bankruptcy court. And then they're gonna have to start making payments on that, the interim part that's delinquent now. Okay, so now they're paying again, but we have that big amount of money sitting there unpaid. That's gonna have to be treated. I just got the plan. For some reason, even though I had been in contact with the court, and you were, nobody's getting documents from the bankruptcy court. So I got that correct. I entered an appearance and said we need to get things. Because this plan was submitted back in the end of December, and I just got it. So I'm going to examine that. We'll make sure that they're going to have to make plan payments. And if they're not doing or proposing an adequate payment, then there will be a hearing on approval of their plan, and if need be, I'll go to it. But at least it's not getting worse for the time being. But I will look at that question too, Sam, about, seems only fair.
That's, you know.
And that's all I have for the moment.
Okay. Thank you, Dennis. Okay, treasurer's report.
Well, we do have that business that's been being carried every month. This enforcement of ordinance 101, Dennis had provided us the language for it, months ago, but you were waiting for more people,
That's just a policy checklist. I think.
yeah,
Yeah, but we've been carrying it for now.
Yeah.
yes.
I kind of like it. It's just something to put some structure underneath our operation.
Yes.
Well, if you're so inclined, I would, and, you know, then I think probably a motion to just approve the procedure set forth on this document would be
I
all
mean,
you
really,
need
what
to
would be
do.
wrong with us not even just saying, yeah, we're in unison agreement?
You could do
And
that
apply
today.
this to ordinance 101,
Sure, could be a consensus, yep.
you know what I'm saying? Because actually, all it is creating a structure to
Exactly, it's just an
enforce
internal
101, okay?
procedure, yep.
It's not
Nothing
an
new.
addendum,
No.
it's not an addition to it, it's just that gives us more structure. Now, unless you want a motion,
I don't think.
Just a
you need to.
checklist.
It's up to you.
okay?
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, we use this as our guidelines to enforce ordinance 101,
Works for me.
okay?
You got the consensus, I
I
believe.
think that's a good structure.
Good job.
Something else comes off the agenda.
What about this revision of section 3.241, like the grinder pumps?
Well, that one is down further on the list, but why don't you do that now too? Because that was one that that was the one that, to replace the grinder pump when they're delinquent, and there's a repair, they have to pay for it, take it over. Yeah.
Was this the one that was passed and then it was,
Well, it had been passed in a
Back.
completely different form, and then it's been
Gotcha.
kind of backed off of for a while.
This
until-
way, when there's a malfunctioning, we do a refurbishing of the wet well and then turn it over to the owner.
If it's their problem, if it was their abuse.
Do you need a motion on this one?
I think you should because that's revising your appraisal.
What this is gonna do is allow us to start turning over grinder pumps.
I'll make a motion to revisions of section 3.241. Do we accept that?
I'll second that.
And we're gonna be moving second revision, section 3.241. In regards to the grinder pump ownership. Any discussion? All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay. Now, the question is, do we need Dennis anymore? If we want to get him out of here? You see anything in there, Dennis?
Well, you could
Yeah.
talk about Tashik. I did check with the township, new business item number 1, Karen Tashik. The
Yeah.
township is satisfied, according to Helen, with the demolition process. They're putting their liens for the,
They're pulling it?
well, no, the township is putting liens on the property for the costs of whatever they had to do there.
Oh,
So
they
it's
did do
down,
But it's, yeah, it's gone,
Yeah.
it's done.
nothing there.
They're satisfied with the way, yeah,
Tanks
they're
are
done with the
backfilled and
issue.
everything.
So now, you had said you were waiting for the township the authority was waiting for the township to get finished with it so you could decide what you wanted to do about it.
Well, you've got a bunch of liens of record, I think. I mean, I know there's some liens of record, whether we brought them completely current, I can't
So it sounds like
recall.
us and the township's gonna fight over what's.
Yeah, what's left.
Fight
of it.
over nothing that's there,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I don't know that you need to necessarily do.
Okay.
I don't- now,
Well, I just wanted to bring that up because
Yeah.
he kept, that
I
was
mean-
what was happening.
If you want me to, I can check and see what the status of our liens is.
I mean, where it's up high enough, it's justifiable for sheriff's sale.
But the chances are, between the township's lien for demolition and the liens you have, that there's no doubt in my mind they're gonna exceed the value of the property. But I can make sure we're up to date and we have them all filed.
Yes.
I'll have Karen,
Yeah, have her take a look at the lien. She'll be able to tell
yeah.
whether we've liened everything, because we would have stopped billing quite a while ago.
I stopped
Yeah,
billing,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
because,
think we even made that motion to
Made
stop
that
billing
agreement, yeah.
after the house burned.
right,
Incidentally, while I'm thinking of this, on the way up here, there's a property coming up the river on the left side. It looks like it's burned out, right on the hill in Perdix. Has that been the case for a long time?
No, they're tearing it down.
They're tearing it down.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's the one that's the one that we used to have.
yeah, that was the Schaumburg property
That
that
was
we
the
bought.
first
Oh,
one we
darn,
bought.
all right. God, it looked like it was a fire to me.
No, it's the first one we bought.
Okay, that's Schaumburg.
Now, who owns this Tashik property right now?
She does.
She does?
Yes,
Oh, she still owns it.
yes.
Oh.
I don't know what the land's worth.
Somebody said it's pretty small, right, the lot.
Small and
It's not big at all.
Where's it at?
It's,
Tashik's property,
Oh, yeah.
small and pretty much
Not good
inaccessible.
access, yeah. Those don't add up to a very good price.
Yeah.
I think the only thing it'd be good for is if one of the houses, the
Neighboring.
adjacent
If you
houses
were gonna build
there.
another place on it, you gotta carry over a single 2x4 to it by hand.
Either that or shoot it down off 11. Yeah.
Wow.
All right,
The good news about the delinquent accounts is that they're down,
Yes.
yeah, so.
and that they got on one side of the paper.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Oh,
That's good.
okay, thank you, my dear. Lunch tomorrow?
Yes, ma'am.
These two.
Yeah, lost in the mail.
Oh, yes, they mentioned that, and this I'm not putting in the minutes, but last month, and you'll see that in the correspondence, I put the auditors want me to start giving you the adjustment reports. We have a total of 10 people that we're aware of that made a payment last month that we never got. Now, there were 3 days last month where we got no mail, which was highly unusual. The mailman comes in and he said, no mail today, and Karen said, no, wait, we always get at least something. And that happened 3 times. And I'm believing these people because a lot of them are people that we know have paid, like Norma Troop pays every month. And, you know, and her checks, people are calling saying, our checks aren't clearing, aren't you cashing them? Well, no, we didn't get them. So,
And that is highly possible because I ended up having to call PP&L myself. I never got my PP&L bill at home. And they could give me the date they sent it out and all the information.
This is not the first time I've heard this.
yeah, but
Yeah.
anyway, we're just, there were
Postal service
10,
right now is in a
Yeah.
disarray evidently.
Yeah, yeah, because there ended up being 3 pieces of mail that personally I knew I should be receiving
Because
and did
two-
not
2
get,
days
never
this
did
week,
get.
I didn't get nothing.
I keep
One
getting
day
mail from
today, I didn't
somebody
get
else.
Oh, boy.
Anyway,
Every so
that's-
often I get mail from,
that's why she wanted,
Put
she
it back in
put
the
that,
box.
because she wanted you to
Flag
know
it.
that's why she's not doing
Flag it.
anything about the
Flag
per
it.
expire
I
company right
understand
now.
that, not an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a rare occasion, I don't know. about
Yeah.
that.
Before I go, this thing here, number 2 under new business.
Number
Is
2,
that
is
is that a meeting that's required by the funding? The
Yeah.
grant
new
money?
business, under new
Yeah.
business with Sunshine.
That's something we have
Oh,
to do for the
yeah, that's some-
project.
Do you have to set that tonight, the date for it, or?
If you, I put that on there as a reminder. You're gonna be doing a lot of construction. It'd probably be a smart idea to have a public meeting with your residents.
Oh, okay, this isn't a required meeting, but I thought it maybe the grant folks were
No,
requiring us to have
this
a
is
public
to let the public know.
Gotcha.
That's,
Okay.
that's just a, you know,
All right, so there'd
I don't-
probably be no reason for me to attend that whenever you decide to do it.
no, that would be just an informational meeting,
Right, okay.
so.
Well, I guess it should be held, well,
Yeah, you're gonna wanna do that, I would think. Well,
Yeah,
I'm not,
absolutely.
I'm sorry, I'm not a member.
I don't know, what do you guys think?
What, public meeting?
Yeah.
Well, I think we had talked about that.
I think we did.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I do
I mean,
too.
we did it for the folks down in Perdix, let them know
Before or
what
after
was
the
coming.
awards?
Before,
Probably
after the awards.
After the awards.
After the awards, so
Before
that
construction.
that way you'll know what, you know,
More
you'll know
details.
more
Yeah.
now, or then, than you do now, in order to have
About
the
when we're
meeting.
gonna start construction and
We
all
want,
that.
Right.
we'll discuss it, we'll have the meeting when it's shovel ready.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah, but you, because otherwise, the phone's gonna be ringing off the hook up here.
it's.
Why are you tearing up my street? Yeah, you,
no,
yeah.
it's the right thing.
Oh,
you
yeah.
gotta, you gotta do it.
Ed's phone's gonna be ringing, Sam's phone's gonna
Yeah,
be
it's
ringing.
gotta
I
be
was
done.
gonna offer,
People will be knocking on my door.
when you advertise that meeting,
Tell them, see,
you can advertise my phone number for those that can't get to the meeting but would really like info. And I'll try to make personal contact with them. If we've got shut-ins or people that are sick, like Betty and Charlie Smith now, I already discussed it quite a bit with them.
Yeah.
But I'd be glad to go around to people
Like them,
like them,
that'd be nice.
because understanding takes so much pain out of it if they just know.
I wouldn't put your name
I'd
in there,
put
I
the-
would not put your name and number
I'd
on
put
there,
this
I
here-
would put it, contact the office.
Okay,
And we'll
The
that's
contact
office
you.
will
Yeah.
contact you.
That's fine.
If you don't do that, you're gonna have guys like, you know, just
Everybody.
calling you just to,
Harass you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Bills?
I've actually had people after me about how soon are we gonna get started?
Really?
yeah,
Honestly.
I've had that too.
Oh.
Yeah,
I don't see we need Dennis anymore, get him down the
No.
road.
All right,
Get me down the road, fit my bedtime.
Okay.
Sorry about your mom.
thanks.
yeah, sorry, Dennis.
I appreciate that. 88, yeah, she had a long run. Comes around for all of us someday.
I don't
Yeah.
know what it is, but this change from winter to spring,
It,
it hit home a couple places with some people I know. It's just, I don't know, it just seems to be that time of year.
She used to comment on that all the time. It's amazing how many people die right after
Right
winter.
as
Yep.
spring starts coming out. It's
We're
just
almost
like
there,
you're
Jim,
struggling
hold
along
on.
to survive,
We're gonna
and
zip through here now.
You just don't get to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
You
No.
better start zipping, because I gotta leave at 10 o'clock, I got bills to do.
Young
I-
people, or
We gotta,
old people,
we gotta
it's
adjourn and
on.
re-adjourn at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, we're gonna be
I got bills that I
done.
gotta get out.
Okay.
All right,
All right,
let's
see
keep
ya.
moving.
Thanks, folks.
Bills?
Thank you.
Oh, pills.
All right, we got delinquencies.
We did
monthly
that.
invoices.
Okay, invoices total 61,690. They're higher because of the quarterly O&M charge. Okay? Other than that, I see nothing really unusual.
I'll make a motion, orders be drawn, the bills be paid.
Second.
The regular moved and seconded. All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, the financial report, the one nice thing is that I did not have to transfer anything from capital reserve for operating expenses. If you look on the back, we've set aside, right now you have $100,000 earmarked for the Sunshine Hill water system upgrade. And then you have another 154,000. Okay, that's the total that you would have available if you were doing it right now. It's 254. Everything else is taken care of and accounted for. So,
Then that makes us completely broke.
you're right. Yeah, you're correct. You would be broke.
Sad but true.
Okay.
I mean, I'm worried about that because this is a big project. And there's a lot of unforeseen things, especially with this grant money and stuff. And I'm seeing extra costs that we're acquiring that I wasn't quite, I'm, present moment, feeling comfortable that we're not out of whack. I really ain't. I'm seeing that we earmarked enough, and I think we're okay.
Well, we have the 100,000 that we put aside for the Market Street line. That's one good thing. The cushion that you might have is you put 35,000 for King Core's upgrade. You could theoretically use some of that. You don't want to,
Right.
but it's there. Okay, so that's.
Move to accept the financial report subject to audit.
Second.
The regular moved and seconded to accept the financial report subject to audit. All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
The next thing I had was, do you want me to pay the O&M charge to Duncannon monthly as opposed to quarterly? I would prefer to pay it monthly just because I hate to see a $15,000 bill in a quarter where we could see it every month, 5,200. I talked to the borough manager. She just kind of looked at me and said, well, it didn't matter to her. I just wondered, you know.
I don't have a problem with it. It's gonna keep them, it's gonna keep the numbers level.
That's why I like it. I prefer to just, write them a check monthly.
It gives it more structure, so
Yeah.
to speak.
We can do that by consensus, right? You don't need a motion for
I don't
that?
think we need a motion for that. I don't have a
And
problem.
I can't
with that.
imagine that it has to go in front of the JOAC. It wouldn't, we're just paying them
They're
early.
getting their money.
Yeah, they're getting their money early. Okay, good, I'll do that.
If
They
there's
should
an issue
like
with
that
them, then we
better.
gotta go back to it, we'll go back to
Okay.
it. But I don't see,
So they
it's
should
not a
like
problem
that
on our
better.
side.
I would think they should.
Yeah, they
We're
get,
not holding it for 3 months.
and then the next one is just, here's the 2014 draft audit. They're busy up there right now, obviously. What isn't with this yet is that they usually give us a page or two of little suggestions of, you really should be doing this, but we understand you're small, so you can't afford to hire somebody. But I don't know that we need to approve this right now, although that's up to you. I've looked at it. It's in line with, I have no problems with it. I know that there's a report that has to go to DCED, but I think they're filing that for us, or they're gonna send it to me.
Bless you.
That's the only thing that has to be filed.
Well, Susan doesn't have a problem with it, I don't have a problem with it.
It's funny, I look at this and
It's like looking
I
at
did
the-
take I took accounting courses, but
It's a tool to work the system, is what it is. And
it's required by the law to
Yes.
have this done, and I look at it and I use it for their permit application for the insurance, because they've already figured out in here for me what the insurance costs were for the year, and, so,
Hope you all have a nice Easter, those that don't see.
okay.
You too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, take care.
See Ed.
So I'll recommend that you approve it, and then we can say it's
I don't have a
done.
problem approving it.
I mean, it is what it is. Here it is.
Motion approved,
Thank you.
2014 draft audit.
Second.
The regular moved and seconded to approve the financial,
Yep.
audited
For two-
financial statement for the year ending December 31st, 2014.
Yep.
All those in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, executive secretary
We
report.
did
That was first.
Okay, we already did her. JOAC meeting, 13th. Don't get excited and go next Monday. It won't be there. I did that one other time last year.
I got a question on that.
Yes.
On that email that came out, it says the pre-bid meeting will be held Monday, April 13th, prior to the regularly scheduled JOAC meeting. Pre-bid meeting is set to begin at 6:30. If that's pre-bid, that's not before JOAC, because isn't that at 6:30? So what time's it supposed to be?
What, the pre-bid?
I don't know. Show up a little early and we'll
I
find out.
don't
It
know
ain't gonna
either.
take long.
I've lost the
Call
engine.
tomorrow and find out, Susan, okay?
Oh, you're talking about the one for the
The
sewer
sewer.
replacement.
sewer replacement.
Oh.
Yeah, the email
Well,
was on the 23rd of March, came out. Came from the borough and said it's gonna be prior to the regularly scheduled JOAC meeting.
Okay.
And it will start at 6:30.
Maybe, okay, when I told that, I figured that meant that the JOAC meeting was gonna start at 6:30.
No, it says the pre-bid meeting is set to begin at 6:30.
I'm
Okay.
starting to think they're just gonna do the
Blend it
pre-bid
in?
and run it all together, cause we're generally out there by 7 o'clock anyhow.
Yeah.
Cause basically that's gonna be our meeting.
Mhm. But I
Yeah,
didn't
they've
know if that
opened them
was-
before.
The last one was very short anyhow. Couldn't even have a quorum.
You ain't one there.
Yeah.
It wouldn't help to call me either, would it?
So, but
Okay, I'll call them just to see.
make sure everything's at 6:30, not
6:30
quarter
and-
after 6 or 6
Okay,
o'clock.
got
okay?
it.
That's the only thing I'm worried about with that.
Yep,
Okay,
yep, got it.
down through here, now we're down to new business. Proposal for mailing of sewer water bills, what's that?
Well, that's just, the company that we get our billing from sent me, and I talked to them at length. I am really surprised that we're still allowed to send those postcards out that say that somebody owes $4,000. I'm surprised we're not required to put them in an envelope, and that's gonna come at one
Yeah.
time. And that's happening in some states, so this company that gives our billing software, they'll do that. And they'll do it for an annual cost of $3,520. Okay, well, that's all right, because right now, your costs right now are $3,268. So it's only $300 more. But I emailed him back and said, we're gonna sit on it for a while, because I don't know whether I wanna give up the job yet. I'm losing money on that. You know? It only takes me about 5 hours to do the sewer bills, but that's, you know,
It's 5 hours.
yeah, I'm losing money, and that's my eating lunch money, you know? So, but that's what that was about. So I'm gonna sit on that, because
We
this
have
is-
an option in case something happens.
that's an option, and that's a cheap option. I was surprised that it was that cheap. Now, when it comes time that I might, whenever Fouts comes online, the whole thing might reverse, because now it's gonna take me a whole lot longer, but it might not take them a whole lot
Why?
longer.
It's only one other customer.
Oh, never mind.
Oh, they're not,
Yeah, it's
that's
worth
true.
it.
You're
They
right.
wouldn't be
Thank
billed
you, Sam.
individually.
Thank you.
It's just one big bill.
Let me ask you a quick question, it may sound silly, but somebody mentioned it to me about, people paying their sewer and water bills, about, and I know it'd probably be a difficult thing to do possibly, paying it by credit card.
Oh, they can do that.
Yeah, they can do it.
They can go on the township's website and do it. They can call us and do it. The problem is they have to pay a fee. You know, when you go into a store and buy something?
Right.
The store pays the fee.
Right.
Well, the municipal authorities don't want to pay a fee. This is set up for government, the company we use is set up by a government, or for government agencies. And so the people get online and they pay the fee, and I think for the $60, I think it's 90 cents.
We have many do that.
Probably 10 a month.
Yeah.
Mr. Gillen, that's how he's paying his down. He's got an agreement with her. A couple of the other people that are, your delinquent accounts, they set it up with Karen every month. Here's my credit card number, you just do it.
I'm just wondering if the people that are on that list are aware of that.
They
That
were
they
all
can
sent a
do
letter.
that.
They were all
Yeah.
sent a letter. They all it was put out on the township website and everything whenever we said we'd do that.
Yeah, I think we put it in
The
the,
newsletter.
we put it in the newsletter, and I
Where
put
have
it
you
on
been
the,
at? You've been reading your stuff.
I put
Yeah,
it on the billing
I
cards,
put it
but
in the letter
nobody
in my-
reads
in
the
my
billing
briefcase.
cards,
Yeah.
so.
But
But it is an option, and you're right, we probably could publicize it more. I remember the debate was that there was hesitancy from you guys about doing it because you were afraid that would be encouraging people to get further into debt. But then we decided that maybe it would help,
But if,
get us out of debt.
if they pay by credit card and they don't pay their credit
They
card.
said that.
It's not our
then
problem.
Between them and
That's
the
right.
credit card company.
That's
not
why the
between us
board,
and them.
that's why the
Yeah.
board did it. No, they can pay by credit card, but there's a fee. It's a minor one, but still.
I do recall now that you mentioned, I do recall seeing that, okay, about the online thing.
Yeah.
But somebody had mentioned, I think that the borough tried to do that one time, and got shot
Well, the
down.
borough just hasn't, they were gonna do it where you could go right on, I would like to be able to do it like the cable does, where they take it right out of your checking account. But I approached the bank, and they want a terrible amount of money, a setup fee for it, and now I'm gonna check again, because I might check with the credit union up here.
See, I'm a little different. If somebody don't take my check,
Yeah.
with my signature on it, or my cash, oh, that's tough.
No, but there are people who don't wanna pay by, when you pay by credit card now, and in this case, they would, well, I
There's
don't know,
people
doesn't
who-
matter.
There's people that make you sign 2 pieces of paperwork when you give a check to somebody, because they scan it, and then they think you sign another piece of paper. Well, I'm gonna sign a second time. I'm gonna do it.
You can have it.
Huh?
You can have that.
What? Oh, I don't want that. We want me
Uh,
to take us home and
Do you
frame it?
wanna, you are gonna have a public meeting, you
Just
just don't
for
wanna set the time, you're
11:09
not gonna
State
set the
Road,
date
we'll
yet,
give it-
okay.
Put the date on.
And Craig Nace, I do believe, is back in town, living at 39 Valley.
Thought he was in jail.
Well, his wife dropped the charges.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Still his wife.
Oh, you want a motion to adjourn? I'll do that.
No, we're not ready yet.
Oh.
We still got 2 things yet to do.
I thought, okay, what are they? Name it.
Oh, you were already talking about the sewer drive. Motion to adjourn.
See if we
I
have that
did
in,
that.
if, put that in the file.
Well, then I'll second it.
All right.
All right, but we're gonna move and second it. All those in favor? Give us a
Aye.
say.
Bye.
Meeting over.
Now you can turn it off.